Chapter 1. Boy, do your best. I will only show you once. A proud voice resounded in Soren's ears. He opened his eyes in a daze. When he saw the scenery in front of him, he was stunned. The green light shone on his body, making him feel warm. This was an experience he had never had before. Everything he saw was made of crystal, like a work of art. In front of Soren, there was an unusually tall giant with red and white or blue and white stripes on his body. He was on a huge training ring. Isn't this Ultraman? Dreamed of Ultraman. It seemed that he noticed Soren's confusion. Suddenly, his arm shook. Turning his head, he saw an Ultraman with diamond crystal eyes looking at him. Soren, be serious, this is Ultraman Zero, the new generation of Ultraman in the Kingdom of Light. As long as we learn the cosmic boxing he taught, we will definitely be able to join the Space Guard in the future. Zeta looked at Zero standing in front of him with expectation and fantasy. I know. The corners of Soren's mouth twitched, and then he looked at the scenery in front of him helplessly. As a standard Ultraman fan, how could he not know that the person in front of him was Zero? Traveled to the world of Ultraman. The good news is that he did not travel through time as an ordinary person, and the bad news is that he traveled through time as an ordinary Ultraman in the Kingdom of Light. No, it should not be called travel through time, it should be called awakening of past life memories. Look, Instructor Zero has started formal teaching. At this time, he excitedly grabbed Soren's arm and shook it back and forth. I saw it, don't be excited, write it down first. Soren looked at him helplessly. This kid is an out-and-out Zero fan. Since we are here, we should make the best of it. Now that we are here, how to survive in this world is the most important thing. After a quick look, the little golden man in the current timeline should not have arrived yet, but it is estimated that he will arrive soon. As for his own talents, Soren can only say that they are terrible. Whether it is physical talent or energy talent, it can only be regarded as mediocre, and the kind that is inconspicuous among the group of AO. It is estimated that he was knocked down by Belia with one stick. And the crisis afterwards is really a danger to the entire race, the war between the kingdom and the Kingdom of Light. The arrival of the ultimate life form, if you are not careful, you will really die without leaving any residue. You must find a way to improve. And now there is a best opportunity to improve, the teaching of Zero. The cosmic boxing that Zero mastered is a close combat fighting method, combining fast and accurate strikes, and efficient defensive actions. Facing any attack, you can quickly resist and even launch a counterattack. At this moment, Ultraman Zero, who was surrounded in the middle, was whistling with fists and legs. Each punch had a force of hundreds of thousands of tons, not to mention that under the blessing of the cosmic boxing, the strength and speed would be enhanced. Okay, I'll teach you here today. Come and practice it for me. After Ultraman Zero glanced at the other Ultraman, the dozen or so Ultraman junior high school students who were more than 6,000 years old began to disperse. Then, the Ultraman standing in a row began to perform the cosmic boxing that Ultraman Zero had just performed. Zeta was in front of Soren. Perhaps because he could learn the boxing of his idol, Zeta was so excited that his heart was trembling, and his body could not cover it at all. Instructor Zero. Can I take you as my teacher? As Zero checked one by one, when he came to Zeta, who was a die-hard fan, could not hold back his excitement, and his diamond-like eyes sparkled. You kid, you should study hard first, you don't have any strength in your punches. Zero wiped his nose, and although his tone was calm, he couldn't hide his inner pride. I will try my best. Teacher Zero. Zeta said excitedly, and in the end, regardless of whether Zero responded or not, he was immersed in joy. Shaking his head helplessly, Zero began to move forward and glanced at Soren. Boy, you are too slow. The most important thing about the cosmic boxing is the reaction ability. The punch should be retracted like this, and the leg should be kicked like this. As he said that, Zero suddenly reached out and grabbed Soren's wrist to help him adjust his posture. His body stiffened, and Soren looked at him in a bit of astonishment. Why are you in a daze? Just practice hard according to my instructions. Okay. Soren nodded quickly. He was in a daze not because of Zero's teaching, but when Zero's hand touched him. An inexplicable prompt sound suddenly appeared in his mind. Target, Zero golden entry detected, please ask if you want to load good guy, he actually still has a system. Why didn't he awaken for more than 6,000 years before? The memory of the previous life, you came just one day after awakening. Is this the gift from the Mother Earth? Love it. Load, said silently in his heart. Golden entry, fighting master, gold your physical fitness has been greatly improved. You have a great understanding of fist and foot fighting. At the same time, you have a calm fighting consciousness and can quickly analyze the enemy's attacks and weaknesses in an instant. Soren felt that everything in front of him had changed. Zeta, who was practicing the cosmic boxing in front of him, seemed so weak at this moment. If he wanted, he could easily knock Zeta to the ground. His consciousness was immersed in the punch that Zero had just thrown, and his mind was constantly analyzing Zero's attack weaknesses. Boom. He couldn't help but throw a punch, and the air exploded. Such a violent movement, even the other practitioners Xiao and Zero who had just instructed were stunned. Especially Zero, he had just finished instructing Soren, not even 10 minutes, right? His strength suddenly changed to a new level? You kid, are you a genius? Chapter 2. With a burning gaze, he returned to Soren and stared at him, hit another punch. Soren was not polite about this. The term fighting master brought him a great deal of physical fitness and fighting experience. But no matter how much fighting experience he gained, he could not compare it with his own experience. It is better to simulate it in your mind 10,000 times than to hit it head-on in reality. Instructor Zero, you have to be careful. After saying that, Soren suddenly raised his head, and his white oval eyes could vaguely show the ferocity of a savage. His legs jumped slightly, like a residual image. Zeta and other Ultra students had not even reacted yet, and Soren had already appeared in front of Soren like a gust of wind. With rich combat experience, Soren was happy in his heart. He never thought that he would find a fighting talent just by coming to the ninja school today. The Ultraman race originally belonged to the physical desert. Under the illumination of the plasma spark tower, most of the Ultramen used light skills. Physical skills can only be said to be very few. And the strength of this kid in front of him is probably unmatched in the Ultra school. How come I have never heard of such a genius in the land of light before? Interesting. Zero soon became interested and then began to fight with Soren seriously, with constant bangs. Zeta looked at the two people in the battle with envy. With such close contact with Instructor Zero. No, it was the teacher. Zeta was so envious that he almost drooled. However, when did Soren become so strong? So envious. I can't give up, Zeta. You are the best. At this moment, Zero, who was fighting with Soren, was more and more frightened. Although the fight was short, under Zero's feeling, Soren's fighting skills grew at a speed visible to the naked eye, and he was immature at the beginning. In the end, he barely used 80% of his strength, and finally Zero used the follow-up skills of the cosmic boxing. Although Soren was difficult to resist at the beginning and was at a disadvantage. But he soon absorbed it with extremely fast talent. Such a rapid growth rate, even Zero was frightened. When did the ninja school produce such a genius? Why have I never heard of it? After another heavy fist fight, Soren, who saw the opportunity, suddenly stretched out his right foot to attack Zero's lower body. Zero's reaction was also very fast, and he quickly blocked it with his hand as an elbow, but at this time, Soren's hand was extremely flexible, like a snake, and suddenly wrapped around Zero's arm. Then he pulled it tightly with his waist as the axis point, and forcibly lifted Zero and smashed it behind him. If he fell down, he would lose face. Such a shameful scene, Zero naturally would not let it happen. He used all his strength to break free, rotated his body in midair to unload the force, and finally landed steadily on the ground. Good performance, I'll remember you. Your name is Soren, right? Cyril looked at him with certainty. Yes, Instructor Zero. Soren barely stabilized his body. The battle with Zero gave him a thorough understanding of his own talent. You have a good talent, even among the red tribes, you are second to none. You should have a teacher who is more suitable for you to teach me. I will talk to the Space Guard about this matter, come on. With your talent, you can easily join the Space Guard. Cyril looked at Soren with admiration. He was also a genius, but he admitted in his heart that in terms of fighting talent, even he was not as exaggerated as Soren showed. I'm afraid the only one who can compare is his master. Leo. Ah, why didn't Master Zero remember me, Master? Remember my name is Zeta, sooner or later I will make you recognize me. Looking at Zero, who only had Soren in his eyes at the moment, Zeta couldn't help but feel a little sour. I know, a kid who talks too much nonsense. Zero looked at Zeta at the moment with a headache. Although he knew that he was very charming, Zeta must be annoyed. What a chatterbox. Continue training. Zero left quickly. He came here out of interest. Because of the sudden summons of the captain, the Space Guard has recently discovered many anomalies in the universe. After guiding these little guys, he still has his own things to do. At this moment, Soren is immersed in the golden finger he has obtained. It's not as lonely as imagined, it feels like an AI assistant. But fortunately, the specific role and ability have been passed to Soren's mind. The role is very simple, which is to load entries from others. There are no conditions. You need to have a person recognized by the system, that is, the so-called protagonist, and obtain random entries from them. Soren can have the ability corresponding to the entry, such as the body tissue blessing and a lot of fighting skills and experience attached to the fighting master. In addition to contact, the second way to obtain is to kill it. Whether it is a monster or an alien, as long as it is a creature, they will have corresponding entries on their bodies. This system awakened just in time, because Soren, who has the memory of his previous life, can be sure that the current timeline has come to the timeline of Galaxy Fight 2. The next country of light will fall into chaos, and the ultimate life form will come to attack with the bosses in various theaters and scripts. In addition, the mysterious 4-0 will also come one by one. With so many big bosses, Soren doesn't believe that he can't get entries from them. There are also levels between entries. The higher the level, the higher the blessing, and the more abnormal the ability. The level is divided into 5 levels. White, blue, purple, gold and red. Chapter 3. Entry Loading System Host, Soren Level, Intermediate Warrior Race, Light Clan Entry, Fighting Master, Gold. The template looks very simple, except for a Fighting Master, there is nothing special. Ultraman is also divided into levels, namely Low Level, Intermediate, Advanced, Elite, Legendary and Legendary. Most of the Ultramen in the Kingdom of Light are low level and intermediate. Soren can become an intermediate warrior at his age now, and his talent can only be regarded as medium. And even this intermediate warrior was only promoted after obtaining the Fighting Master. He is very satisfied with this. For example, advanced warriors, such as Hikari, and now taiga, can be regarded as advanced warriors. As for elites, there are several old dengs in the Space Guard. There is no need to say more about legends. Ultra Father with true knowledge is one of them, and some ultimate life forms that are rampant in the universe can also be regarded as legends. As for legends, the mysterious 4 Ultramen are typical examples of legends. Possessing inexplicable powerful strength such as reshaping the universe and creating the world. With the system, I may grow to have such powerful strength. I just don't know how long it will take. The sense of urgency in my heart is very strong, and the enemies I will face next are stronger than each other. I must seize all the time I can use. And loading entries is my greatest hope to increase my strength. Zeta, you should work hard too. With your strength, how can Zero look down on you? While training his fighting skills, Soren said to Zeta earnestly. That's right. Soren. I have to become stronger too, otherwise I can't catch up with Master Zero with such a weak strength. Zeta was instantly full of energy. Suddenly Soren's mind moved, and he didn't know if Zeta had any entries. Thinking of this, Soren no longer hesitated and looked at how he got Zero's entry just now. It seemed to be the moment when Zero touched him. What about Zeta? Zeta, how about we train each other? Soren's mind moved, and he suddenly remembered that the way to obtain entries is not only to load directly, but also to defeat or kill the opponent. Oh, then you have to be careful. A few days ago, with the help of Teacher Ace, I successfully comprehended my own light skills. Zeta said proudly. Hearing this, Soren's eyes were shocked. Is Zeta's talent so good? However, Zeta's light skills seem to be somewhat different from the common Specium light in the Kingdom of Light. Zeta's light is called Cesium light, but Zeta is not a native of the Kingdom of Light, but was picked up and adopted by Ace on the battlefield thousands of years ago. Soren is a native of the Red Clan, not a red and blue hybrid, but a pure red. His body shape is a bit like that of 7X, but he does not have the armor of 7, but a pair of huge pectoral muscles of the first generation. He looks like the Lionheart, with a sharp-edged lion head. He looks like he has a violent aesthetic. But you are really powerful. However, you have just seen my strength. I will not show mercy. As they said, the two of them came to the Ultra Arena. The densely packed Ultra Arena is like a tree with luxuriant branches and leaves, and each arena is like a leaf. The two found an empty arena. Then, the two sides looked at each other and started with a sound. Soren took the lead in attacking, rushing towards Zeta with agility, and performing fierce punches and kicks. Zeta was like a young man, not afraid at all. After dodging hurriedly, he tried to fight back with the cosmic boxing that Zero had just taught. Needless to say, the ending was as fierce as a storm, especially his legs. Perhaps the first reaction to fighting was Leo. Soren recognized Leo's fighting very much, naturally. He would not let go of Leo's best flying kick. Of course, with his current physical fitness, it was a very difficult thing to release a flying kick. But Zeta couldn't bear the leg kicking skills that were like a storm. Caught off guard, Zeta's waist was kicked hard by Soren. His body rolled dozens of times on the ground and fell heavily on the edge of the ring. So powerful. Zeta barely got up from the ground and looked at Soren in the distance with a surprised face. If he wasn't in the Kingdom of Light with the energy replenishment of the Plasma Spark Tower, I'm afraid he would start to have red lights now. Soren is so strong. They were evenly matched when they fought 1,000 years ago. How come he suddenly became so strong? However, you are not the only one who has become stronger during this period. Look at me. Zestim Ray. After standing up, Zeta's legs were slightly bent, and Zestim particles with blue and white electric current began to appear on the surface of his body. His hands slowly crossed to form a cross, and the blue and white electric current particles began to gather. His own momentum surged. Soren looked at everything in front of him calmly as if he couldn't feel it. My guess was correct. When my fist landed on Zeta, the talent loading system appeared again. Target Zeta Ultraman is detected, with loadable entries. Do you want to load the entries? Load. Loading successful, congratulations to the host for obtaining the talent entry. Innocent Heart, Gold. When practicing seriously, the practice speed is doubled. Possessing a strong learning ability, when you are immersed in something, you will quickly study and master it. At the same time, you have a very strong adaptability. As long as you persevere, you can achieve anything. What the hell? As long as you persevere, you can achieve anything? Is this the idealism unique to this universe? What if you can't beat the enemy? But this talent is also very strong. In addition to the power of idealism, the most powerful thing is the learning ability it carries. Isn't this a genius? Innocent Heart? Thinking of Zeta's stupid appearance, Soren suddenly realized it. Only such a fool can eliminate the distracting thoughts in his mind and quickly master skills and combat techniques. This entry is also very good. When it comes to learning martial arts, there are fighting masters. When it comes to learning skills, there is a pure heart. Chapter 4. Hey, Soren, don't stand there stupidly. Zeta, who was accumulating energy, couldn't help but exclaimed when he saw Soren in a daze. Come on. Soren nodded. He didn't take Zeta's energy beam seriously. Who would take more than 10 seconds to prepare for the beam? Aha! Zestim beam. As the light on his body became more and more dazzling, powerful energy gathered and compressed in his hands. Zeta could no longer control the power condensed in his arms. In an instant, he pushed his hands forward and released a blue-white spark beam with electric current from the palm of his right hand, Zestim beam. The beam was like a surging torrent, rushing towards Soren at an astonishing speed. Wherever it passed, the air seemed to be ionized, making a crackling sound. This beam was indeed very powerful, and Soren's face changed slightly. However, no matter how strong the beam was, it had to hit the target. Zeta himself had just mastered this skill, and after accumulating it for such a long time, the energy contained made Zeta himself a little overwhelmed. The violent energy and the recoil caused him to stagger, and the light in his hand was shot off. Soren just tilted his head slightly to avoid the attack of the light. Then, he jumped like a frog, and his red body rotated in the air. The last flying kick hit Zeta's face hard. It hurt so much. Zeta, who was kicked to the ground, rolled back and forth with his face covered. His voice was crying. Not that bad, right? Should I go to the Galactic Crusaders to take a look? Soren was also a little confused. Just now, he saw that the timing was just right. He jumped and just avoided Zeta's light and came to the air. Somehow, the scene of Leo's flying kick came back in his mind. Then. Now Soren has no idea how terrible his power is. The normal adult AO's power is about 100,000 tons. It is the average level of an intermediate warrior. If there is a bonus of fighting skills or energy blessing, it will at least be doubled. Unfortunately, he had the physical fitness of a fighting master, plus a high-altitude fall and a special burst of skills. The power jumped to 300,000 tons. For the real Leo flying kick, 300,000 tons is not worth mentioning. But for Zeta, these 300,000 tons really cost him his life. However, Zeta is now young and energetic, and even Ultraman has to save face. So he immediately shook his head stubbornly to show that it was okay. Looking at Zeta's limping back, Soren's mouth twitched, hoping that Ace would not come to trouble him. However, Soren didn't know at this moment that his battle with Zeta had been seen by the Ultra Guard. Makalit planet? I understand, leave it to me. Libyut, you go with us, and you must investigate the truth about the desertification of this planet. Zoffy and the first generation said to Libyut and Max in front of them with a serious face. Don't worry, please leave it to me. Libyut nodded firmly. I'll leave it to you. Looking at the backs of the two people flying away, Zoffy sighed helplessly. It seems that this universe has begun to become restless again. Taro was wearing a red cloak at this time, walking towards here step by step. Isn't it? The previous Ultra Killer was fine, why did Soda suddenly appear? Jack was also a little helpless. The King of Grant at the time made the six of them fall into a bitter battle. King Grant was Soda's means. Not only Zoda, but also Ultra Killer, and even Yabo people appeared. Xiao Guang just contacted me not long ago. It seems that there is a terrible force behind them. Taro's face was serious. You mean, there is a hidden force targeting the Kingdom of Light? To be precise, it is targeting this universe. Ace hit the nail on the head. Zero is here, and his Zero Space Guard has nothing to do, so it's good to let him investigate. Seven suddenly looked up, and the induction between father and son let him know that the person he was waiting for had arrived. Sure enough, in less than a moment, Zero landed steadily in front of everyone. Hey, old men, what's the matter with you suddenly calling me? GAO of the Zero team asked after greeting. Some strange things happened in the universe. I hope your Zero Guard can investigate more. The combat power in the Space Guard is too small at present. Just this matter, no problem, leave it to me, but I just found two good seedlings and father and old men can focus on training them. Zoffy's words instantly aroused his interest. As the leader of the new generation of the country, even Taro's son, Taiga, has not been recognized by Zero. How come two good seedlings are recognized by the proud Zero now? Who are you talking about? Seven asked curiously, he knew his son. What are the talents of these two people who can get the recognition of Zero? One is called Soren and the other is called Zeta. Zero responded immediately. Zeta? Isn't that the child that Ace picked up on the battlefield thousands of years ago? Soren? I haven't heard of this name. The first generation, the principal of Ultra School, began to take out the instrument to search. Found it, the two little guys are with Taro, investigate the combat data of the ring. The first generation immediately turned his head and looked at Taro. No problem. Taro nodded. After searching for a while, he waved his hand upwards, and the two people who were opposing in the ring immediately appeared in front of everyone. Chapter 5. Needless to say, the following scene was of course not worth mentioning. Ace, his talent is really good. He can comprehend his own light at this age. He has your style. Zoffy looked at Ace with a sigh, and then looked at Zeta, who looked like a young man in the picture at the moment. It's just that his combat experience is a little weak, and he seems to be even more innocent than Mebius at that time. This needs to be properly trained. Ace, since he was brought back by you, his talent is quite good. You can focus on training him. After all, the universe is a little turbulent, and no one knows what the impact will be. Zoffy said earnestly. Leave this to me, no problem. As for Soren, it's a pity that Leo is still on the King's planet now. If he is sent to the King's planet for training, it will be more than. 7, what do you think? Zoffy suddenly looked at 7. Soren's talent was seen by them. The only pity was that the battle with Zero was not recorded, so they did not see the speed at which Soren and Zero improved in the battle. But despite this, it can be heard from Zero's words that Soren is not ordinary. Among the people present, when it comes to fighting, 7 is the most advanced, especially the other party's teaching method. Although the method is very confidential and Leo has never asked it, but being able to train a fighting master like Leo, Seven's fighting skills and teaching methods are extraordinary. Seven pondered for a while and was ready to agree. Seeing a good seedling, it would be a pity if it is not cultivated. Not to mention that the universe has been a little restless recently, the Kingdom of Light also needs power to protect the safety of the universe. Just when Seven was about to agree, Zero suddenly said, as for fighting, I don't think it's necessary to continue teaching. He is very malleable and will definitely be able to walk out of his own fighting path in the future. I think we can just give him appropriate guidance. You mean, the end of fighting, Cosmic Fantasy Beast Fist? Seven seemed to have thought of something and asked hurriedly. He had only heard about the Cosmic Beast Fist from Leo, and it was a fighting skill of a fighting master in the universe thousands of years ago. If you practice fighting to the extreme, you will be recognized by the beasts in the dark, and then you can comprehend the Cosmic Beast Fist. Zero's original fighting talent was also very good. If he practices, he will definitely be recognized by the Cosmic Beast Fist in the future. But Zero has learned too much, and the improvement in fighting is not very big for him, so he gradually ignores it. That's right. If you can really comprehend the Cosmic Beast Fist, Master Lei Ting should be very happy. Zofie sighed inexplicably. In this case, let Ace teach Soren together. Teaching 1 is teaching 2 is also teaching, just to make up for Soren's lack of proficiency in light skills. The Red Tribe is not good at light skills, they already know it well, and just now they have also investigated the specific performance of Soren and Zeta in Ultra School. They are all remarkable. The Ultra School first taught light, but very little fighting, after all, he was still young and his body hadn't grown up yet. And Soren's talent for light can't be said to be very good, basically hovering at the bottom. At this age, most of the Ultras can condense some small light bullets, and some with higher talents can even fly with light. Soren hasn't even made the most basic energy condensation yet. Okay, I want to see how bad his light talent can be as an Ultraman. Ace said with some interest. The Ultraman family is also called the Light family. Although there are differences in talent between races, the talent for light is not far behind. A race named after light can't be unable to play with light, right? At this moment, Soren didn't know that his fate had been arranged. If he knew, he might jump out excitedly. Ace. Do you know who Ace is? The director of the meat processing plant in the Kingdom of Light. The monsters trembled when they saw it, and the super beasts saw the terrified Ao. He returned to his egg house. Ultraman's room is like a huge eggshell. As for the parents of this Ao, Soren didn't know either. In his memory, it seemed that he never had a parental relationship. He had been playing with Zeta naked since he could remember. In addition, Ace came to spread rumors from time to time, and Ultraman was specially made to be heartless and brainless, but he didn't think much about it. Being an Ultraman is not as good as imagined, and every day is boring. Especially for students of Ultra School, not only do they have to remember the history of Ultra Planet at all times, but also some aliens and monsters in the universe, and they have to remember their weaknesses and abilities. In addition, they absorb the energy of the Plasma Spark Tower day after day. The way to improve Ultraman is very simple, either actively absorb the energy of plasma sparks, or passively irradiate it every day. If you extract, the energy will increase faster, and the strength will naturally become stronger. Generally, the Red Tribe practices this way. If you do it passively, people from the Blue and Silver tribes often do this. They are immersed in research and basically do not actively absorb the energy of the Plasma Spark Tower. After a day of practice, Soren opened his eyes helplessly. This body seemed to be cursed and had no sense of light. Is it possible that I can only be a big muscle tyrant in the future? Kill the monster with one punch? System, I can only rely on the system to see if I can get some entries with light talent. There is also a cooling time for entry loading, the first time is a week, the second time is a month, and the third time is a year. If you want to get the entry talent on Zero again, you can only wait for a week. Or, go to touch other Ultras. For example, Ultra Brothers? Or even Ultra Father. If you can absorb the true power talent, it will be really worth it. Chapter 6. While Soren was practicing hard, Ace was busy in secret. He was not a special instructor, he was just an ordinary Martian patrol officer. Zeta was fine when Zofie suddenly gave him these two heavy responsibilities. He often brought back some rare things in the universe when he went out to perform tasks, and his relationship with Zeta was pretty good. But Soren had noticed this little Ao when he visited Zeta before. He heard that he was also a child picked up on the battlefield. Although he had contact with Soren on weekdays, he was not as familiar with Zeta. Zofie also considered this point and asked Ace to teach the two. Because these two people were most involved with Ace among the Ultra Brothers, naturally, it was Ace's turn to be responsible for this matter. He went to the Space Science and Technology Bureau and asked Hikari for some test and lesson materials and props. It took Ace 3 days, and then he went to Taro to ask for a quieter training ground. After everything is ready, the real teaching begins now. What? Temporarily graduated from Ultra School, preparing for the qualification of Ultra Guard. Zeta's sharp and surprised explosion resounded throughout the Ultra School. A pair of diamond-like eyes flashed with light. Although Ultraman had no expression on his face, he could still feel Zeta's inner surprise. Soren was also a little surprised. He didn't expect that after showing his talent in front of Zero the day before yesterday, he would attract the attention of the top leaders of the Kingdom of Light so quickly. This was really beyond Soren's expectations. His original purpose was to attract the attention of the top leaders of the Kingdom of Light. The abnormality of his own entries is that the cooling time is extremely short. As long as he keeps in contact with the Ultra brothers, he can add the entries to them one by one. By then, thousands of entries will be loaded on him, let alone the little golden man, even the little golden king will be useless. The qualification to prepare for the Ultra Guard also means that Soren can leave the Kingdom of Light and come into contact with the vast universe. Another way to obtain entries is to kill monsters or aliens and strip off their entries. It is impossible not to be tempted. And if they officially join the Ultra Guard, then no matter who they meet or what they encounter in the future, it will be related to the safety of the universe. It is even possible to meet the King of Ultra. When he thought of this, he couldn't suppress his inner happiness, and his muscles trembled under his red appearance. Don't be so, it's just a temporary qualification. Whether you can pass is still a question. Even if you pass, you are just a reserve player. The blue tribe AO in front of them kindly gave the two of them a knife. The smug expressions on the faces of the two AO immediately began to disappear. After telling the two the specific location, the blue tribe AO left. Fortunately, the place was not very far away, just within the range of the Ultra Arena. Soren, if I join the Ultra Guard, will I be one step closer to my master? Of course, it is not impossible to become a disciple of Ultraman Zero. Soren nodded. Of course, Zeta still needs the help of Ultraman to become a real strong man. This is the unreasonableness of the special effects universe. Human beliefs and hopes are not reasonable to you at all. No matter if you are the dark chaos or the evil god of the universe. Great, I will definitely become the best disciple of Master Zero. Zeta said proudly. Don't be so full of words, let's take a look at who the master in front of us is. Soren shook his head, and he was a little impatient in his heart. No matter who is responsible for teaching himself and Zeta? At least a high-level warrior, or an elite warrior, right? With such a powerful Ultraman, he should be able to load the entry anyway. Calculating the entries I have obtained so far, the fighting master has at least tripled my physical fitness, and the innocent heart has doubled the efficiency of light energy conversion when I practice. In addition, there is a strong ability to study and fighting skills. In fact, the talent of innocent heart is most suitable for people of the blue tribe. If you change the name, you can also call it a research genius. The difference lies in the subsequent idealism explosion. To use a popular line, miracles will happen to those who believe in miracles. So many people like to cheat. It has only been a few days since I got the entry, and my strength has doubled or tripled. I hope the little golden man will come slowly, so that I have enough time to grow. While thinking, I have arrived at the destination unknowingly, looking at the closed training ground in front of me. Both Zeta and Soren were a little stunned. There were 5 fierce symbols in front of the closed training ground. It is the language of the Kingdom of Light, which means monster base. Are the teachers mistaken? Let us come to the monster base. Did you send the wrong location? Zeta looked at the location information in his hand with doubt. Obviously, the location is not wrong. Not really. The monsters that can survive in the monster base of the Kingdom of Light are basically famous monsters in the universe. Like Bermuda, Bimonston, Red King, etc. Ordinary monsters can hardly survive here. This is usually a training ground for high-level warriors, which is the last test for those high-level warriors before they go to the universe. They are just ordinary students in Ultra School, and they are not even of graduation age. Isn't it a bit too exaggerated to throw them directly into the monster base for training? No mistake, come in quickly. A majestic voice suddenly came from the gate of the base in front of him. Hearing this familiar voice, Zeta's face immediately became happy. Brother Ace. Chapter 7. Quickly push open the field of the monster training ring. What comes into view is a scene similar to a primeval forest, which is quite rare in the Kingdom of Light, full of light sources. Ultraman in the Kingdom of Light likes to shine in the light and welcome the sun. Although there is sunlight here, it is more pure plasma sparks. It doesn't seem so beautiful. In front of a mountain of 100 meters, Ace, who is like a bodhisattva, has been waiting for a long time. I am not your brother Ace here. From today on, you two will call me teacher. Ace looked at the two confidently. In order to prepare to welcome these two disciples, he was busy back and forth. Not only did he go to the Space Technology Academy to find the equipment that Hikari wanted to test, he even consulted the knowledgeable first generation N7 who has rich teaching experience. Now he is confident that he can teach the two well. Understood, Teacher Ace. Zeta and Soren were a little excited. Zeta was because Ace in front of him was an acquaintance, and Ace was the benefactor who picked him up from the battlefield. As for Soren, there is no need to say more. He was still thinking about how to contact the brothers of Ultraman. Good guy, now one of them is delivered to the door. Zero is a good person. It is estimated that he mentioned it casually to the Ultra Guard, and the Ultra Guarda Euro trademark S character noticed him. This also led to him and Zeta being suddenly given special treatment. This special treatment is good. Zeta, I know your talent. Although you have comprehended your own light at this age, it is not something to be proud of. Your talent can only be regarded as high in the Kingdom of Light, but you can't be the top. It can only be said to be mediocre. As for you. As he spoke, Ace showed a majestic momentum and walked towards Soren. Cold and ruthless, this is the first impression Ace gave to Soren, which is also in line with his impression of the cruel and ruthless director of the meat processing factory. Fortunately, he is not a super beast. If he is a super beast, he might face Ace, who is 10 times more terrifying than now. I don't know much about you, but since you are allowed to teach you, I will do my best to train you into a qualified Ultra Warrior. I have been preparing for this day for a long time. Ace said righteously. Preparation? Teacher Ace, what have you prepared for us? Zeta asked curiously like a curious baby. The energy crystal plate can calculate how powerful the energy light you release is. The monster capsule contains the latest monster phantom developed by Hikari. Only when you defeat the monster phantom and defeat a real monster, you will pass the preliminary assessment of the Ultra Guard. There are also some cosmic common sense and some weak light release techniques that I learned from the first generation. Ace said proudly. Weak light release techniques? How did such cold words come out of your mouth? As a genius of light, he really doesn't take light seriously. Soren looked at Ace speechlessly. Forget it, as a waste of light, he couldn't refute it. In addition, I also asked Seven for advice on physical combat and disciple education. Coupled with my experience on Earth, I am now full of confidence. What the hell? Seven asked for advice. Physical combat? Disciple education? How could you say this? Seven, you are not a human being. Others don't know how you teach Leo, but how can I not know? The jeep hit hard, and now Leo heard the news of the fake Seven, and he was shocked. And Ace, experience on Earth? Are you a BD, team member Yamanaka? Before Soren's random thoughts stopped, Ace came to Soren with a look of emotion and patted Soren on the shoulder. Although your light talent is not good in Ultra School, don't worry, under my strict teaching, I will definitely make you a qualified Ultra Warrior who can protect your own safety. Ace's words touched Soren, but the following entry loading touched Soren even more. Access to the entry to load characters. Ultraman Ace entry loading. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the golden entry, Guillotine. Little Prince of Light Guillotine, gold for cutting shaped light, you can quickly master it and can exert 5 times the power, and the power increases tenfold when facing super beasts. There is a 1% chance of exerting 100 times the power. Warm reminder, this entry is more suitable for fighting masters. These two can also be regarded as the best match. 1 physical skill and 1 cutting light? Wait. Does it become the Sawman of Light when added together? Little Prince of Light, Purple, you are a natural Prince of Light. You can master all kinds of light. With endless energy, you will be a Gatling gun on the battlefield, a bulldozer that makes the enemy feel fear. Light skill comprehension greatly improved as expected of Ultraman. He actually opened 2 entries. 1 gold and 1 purple, and both are related to light, but the Little Prince of Light is a purple entry. If the small words are removed, it may be gold. However, even so, Soren is very satisfied. It is the introduction of the endless energy that makes Soren think. As for endless energy, it is either plasma sparks or the eternal core intriga. Apart from this, Soren can't think of a second one. The most unexpected thing is the entry of Ultraman Guillotine. There is no need to say more about the significant improvement of cutting light. The most important thing is that it will burst out 5 times the power on the basis of the original cutting skill, and it can increase 10 times when facing super beasts. As expected of you, Ace Bodhisattva, you really save all living beings. Chapter 8. Light skills are simple and difficult, the reason is how to control it. I know your study in Ultra School, Soren, your main problem is that you can't control your light energy. This also caused you to not even learn to fly until now. As for Zeta, your light talent is remarkable, but your physical fitness is too poor. I also saw your fight with Soren in the Ultra Arena before. You couldn't control the light you released. I must teach you a lesson. From today on, one of you will mainly learn light flying, and the other will mainly learn fighting and physical fitness. Soren, I will first teach the most basic light, palm light bullet. The principle is very simple, by controlling the light in the timer to condense. The two listened very seriously. Zeta didn't know many light skills. To be honest, in Ultra School, there are very few things about fighting. An hour later, Ace stopped explaining with a sense of unsatisfaction. It feels pretty good to teach others for the first time. This is the most basic attack beam. It requires the least amount of energy and the release form is the simplest. I only spent 1. Ace was stuck in the middle of his words, staring blankly at the white light condensed in Soren's hand. Is that so? Soren raised the light bullet in his hand with some curiosity. This was the first time he condensed it. It felt pretty good to use energy to attack the enemy. In the past, he did not fail to control the release of energy, but the energy was like a disobedient loach, not listening to his command at all and could not be controlled. It was the first time that he was so well behaved, and he easily condensed it on his palm, forming a palm-sized light bullet. He could clearly sense the power contained in the light bullet. I'm afraid that even a small mountain could be easily smashed together. This power is really fascinating. No wonder so many people like to be mages. Is that so? Ace nodded blankly, and then couldn't help but come to Soren and check it carefully. It is indeed a palm light bullet. Although it is not as perfect as the one he condensed, don't forget that this is just the first time that Soren has released it. Ace is sure that Soren's talent for light in the previous Ultra School is really a mess, and he has never been exposed to offensive light. Even Zeta's Zestim light is something he has comprehended by himself. Where did this palm light bullet come from? It can't be that he will learn it after just teaching it. This is the light desert. Wasn't the test instrument at Ultra Primary School just developed by the Blue Tribe? Ace was a little numb. He thought he was the one who knew the most about light in the Kingdom of Light, but when he first learned the palm light bullet, it took him a whole day to master it. Test it first. Ace turned his head vigorously and finally took out a panel instrument. Shoot out the light you released in your hand, and the panel will accurately calculate how powerful your light is by automatic dubbing. Soren swung his arm forward, and the round energy ball on his palm immediately shot out towards the panel in front of him. The speed was extremely fast, and in a flash, the energy ball whizzed in and hit the panel directly. Just like waves on a calm surface of water, the panel immediately swallowed up the palm light bullet. Then, a line of numbers suddenly appeared. 136. Is this a good or bad result? Soren asked somewhat confusedly. Turning around, he found that Ace and Zeta were looking at him with complicated expressions. Especially Zeta. No, buddy. Is this your first time learning attack light? Whose first attack light can reach more than 100 tons of attack force? The palm light bullet you casually released is higher than my zestim. After Zeta created his own zestim particles for the first time, he found Ace, and then spent 5 years to finally perfect his zestim rays. The first test was also tested on the energy panel. And the power that exploded was only 150 tons. But that was the power that Zeta released with all his strength, or the light that could only be used as a special move. What is this thing of yours? Palm light bullet? Can't it be pinched at will? The power of the thing that can be pinched at will is comparable to his special move. When Zeta thought of this, he instantly felt that there was no hope for the entire Ultraman life. Wait, let me think about it. Ace was also a little bit unbelievable. The records in the Ultra School were not wrong. When Ultraman entered the elementary school, the instruments of the Blue Clan could test the talents of every Ultraman. And Soran's energy talent was indeed inferior at that time. Can you master the palm light bullet in less than a while? Even he spent a full hour to fully master it at that time. This energy talent is wrong. Why does it feel more exaggerated than the fighting talent? Zeta, keep learning. I want to take Soren for special training. Ace stood up suddenly and started one-on-one teaching. This time, Ace taught a slightly more difficult attack skill. Calculator Ray. The difficulty of the timer ray is that this ray is emitted from the timer. The timer is the most fragile, so the timer ray skill is very difficult. Normally, AO would not learn such a difficult ray skill. Ace wanted to see if the palm light bullet just now was a coincidence, or if Soren also had a ray talent that was no less than his own. Chapter 9. 1 month later. Ace was silent, and Zeta was playing badly. Hakalai's attitude is definitely problematic. The talent machine he researched is definitely faulty. In 1 month, he has mastered energy skills of all sizes, whether it is attack or defense. Now he only lacks his own ultimate light and my guillotine. I am hesitating whether to teach him the 8-point light wheel next. Brother Zoffy. Soren is definitely a genius who is more talented than Sylro. Whether it is fighting or energy skills. Now he is stronger than the average high-level warrior. I don't dare to let him study with Zeta. Zeta's confidence has been hit. Under the plasma spark tower, Ace spoke to Zoffy with excitement. Soren's talent is beyond his imagination. If he is the Prince of Light, then Soren is the well-deserved little Prince of Light. Some basic light techniques and light skills, as long as Soren is taught, he will learn them immediately. He is completely unlike the light idiot mentioned by the male teachers of Ultra School. Obviously a light genius. What makes Ace angry the most is the talent test of Ultra School, which calculates the light energy contained in an Ultraman. How about the Prince's blessing of the highest Ultraman? The talent of Soren, who just entered Ultra School, was tested and was unsurprisingly low. But until not long ago, Ace tested it again. Top. The light energy talent is as top as his own. Hikari is unforgivable for wasting Soren's time for so many years. So why did you come to me after saying so much? As a headache, he looked at Ace in front of him. How could he not know about Soren's performance as the captain of the Space Guard? And he has reported Soren's performance to the captain. I want to teach him forbidden techniques. Ace said seriously. As soon as this was said, the atmosphere froze instantly until a long time later. You mean Ultra Guillotine? If Ace is to talk about what forbidden techniques he has mastered, then in addition to the guillotine, Zoffy can't think of a second one. Yes, I have discovered it during this period of teaching. Energy talent is indeed good, but Soren seems to have a special talent for cutting energy. Even the most ordinary Ultra hand knife can exert several times the original power in Soren's hands. It's like he is a natural successor to the guillotine. Ace said with joy. This is why he wanted to teach Soren the Ultra Guillotine so much. It can exert several times the power of sharp cutting skills. Cutting type light is inherently powerful. Adding such a strange talent, if Soren performs the strongest cutting technique of the Kingdom of Light. Ultra Guillotine, what kind of sparks will it produce? I'm afraid that even the Abo people hiding in another dimension cannot avoid being hit by this knife. Do you know that if he does something against peace in the future after learning the guillotine, you will be responsible for guaranteeing it? Zoffy said seriously. When Ace was learning the Ultra Guillotine, it was the Ultra Brothers who guaranteed it to Ultra Father. I understand, but I believe that AO who studies seriously will not go down the wrong path. Ace nodded. During this period of time, Ace has a good understanding of Soren Ace. After Soren finishes his studies on weekdays, he will also work hard to practice, or study some applications of light. What Ace admires most is the other party's unremitting exploration, and when Zeta, a stupid guy, can't learn, Soren will stand up to guide Zeta. This is what Ace said about enthusiasm. He believes that guys with enthusiasm will never go down the wrong path. Okay, I will apply to the captain. As for whether it will be approved. Zoffy was also a little helpless. There was no way. After all, this was his brother. It was rare for him to ask for it, so he would spoil him. Host, Soren level, Advanced Warrior Race, Light Clan Entries, Fighting Master, Gold, Ultra Gatlin, Gold, Energy Tolerance, Gold, Little Prince of Light, Purple, Keen Perception, Purple, these are all the entries Soren has at present. During this month, he once again loaded 2 entries from Zeta and Ace, namely Zeta's Energy Tolerance. Energy Tolerance, Gold can accept other Ultra energies except oneself, and absorb and bless them. If the energy is absorbed too much, it will achieve a qualitative improvement. The energy of oneself is blessed 5 times. This is why Zeta is very suitable for the sublimator. Zeta has the talent to absorb and be compatible with the energy of other Ultramen, and has so many forms. In addition, it is the keen perception obtained from Ace. Acute perception, Purple, you are very sensitive to other people's prying eyes, and can detect attacks hidden in the dark, especially the gazes of super beasts and yabo people hiding in the other dimensional space. The characteristics of this entry are very consistent with Ace's personality. Anyway, as long as it is related to super beasts or yabo people, it will definitely be multiplied several times on the original basis. So that's how it is, Soren, how are you so powerful, but I didn't expect that energy can be circulated like this. Looking at Zeta, who successfully released the palm light arrow, looking at him with admiration, Soren couldn't help but smile modestly. But such a small light, is it really useful for Super Beast Baraba? I heard from Teacher Ace that Super Beast Baraba is a very powerful super beast, and why should I practice the scene of making diamonds with Super Beast Baraba in advance? Then, Zeta's doubts were raised again. Ace was not there, and only Soren and Zeta were left in the huge training ground. Zeta was still thinking about the new attack light technique that Ace had just taught. I was just free, so I went over to give Zeta some pointers. I also thought about the future, when Zeta would have to face the Ultra Beast Baraba. The palm light arrow was still very effective against Baraba's bullseye. Chapter 10. While Soren was teaching Zeta, Ace suddenly flew to the 2 of them. Zeta, you study here first. Soren and I are going to the universe first. Ace said seriously. Ah? You are going to the universe without me? Zeta widened his eyes, looking at Soren and Ace in disbelief like a little stray dog a abandoned by someone. If you go, you may get hurt by mistake. You can't participate in the next thing. After that, Ace looked at Soren. Have you mastered flying? I have mastered it. Soren was also a little confused. Why did they stay here for so long and now they are going out? Without solving Soren's doubts, Ace directly grabbed Soren's shoulders and walked out of the monster training ring that lasted for more than a month. After feeling the warmth of the plasma spark tower again, Soren's expression on his face was inexplicably a little emotional. Compared with the warmth of the plasma spark tower, he still prefers to stay in the primeval forest and mountains. With a whoosh, Ace raised his hands and flew directly into the air. Soren followed closely behind. The 2 flew away from the Kingdom of Light quickly, passed through the galaxy next to the Kingdom of Light, and arrived at a desolate planet. After landing steadily, Ace turned his head and looked at Soren seriously. Are you confused? Why did I bring you here? I really don't understand. Soren stood opposite Ace, and always felt that Ace was different today than usual. Seems to be a little more serious than usual. Is he going to announce something big? I have seen your talent in the past month of teaching. I believe in you and your strength. Will you fight for the peace of the universe? I will. Soren nodded involuntarily. In this case, in order to protect the peace of the universe, I will teach you a forbidden technique of the Kingdom of Light. The forbidden technique of the Kingdom of Light? What is a forbidden technique? Is it a skill that is powerful enough? No, forbidden techniques are skills that are not allowed to be used after all. It's not because it's too powerful, but because it's not very humane. Who is standing in front of him? The Prince of Light in the Kingdom of Light, the director of the meat processing plant, the dismemberment maniac, the engine of group destruction. And the forbidden technique mastered by the other party is not the Ultra Gatlin that never leaves a complete corpse. It's called Ultra Gatlin, which is a very dangerous skill. After more than a month of observation, I think you have a special talent. Regarding the cutting type of light, you seem to be able to show its power beyond your level, and Ultra Gatlin is also known as the strongest cutting light in the Kingdom of Light. Ace said, his eyes full of seriousness and expectation. Hearing this, Soren was shocked. He never thought that he had such a talent. Ultra Gatlin, that's the legendary forbidden technique. Ace continued to explain, even a tough and thick-skinned Ultra Beast can be easily tossed in half by the Ultra Gatlin. If it were you, I believe that in time, your Ultra Gatlin would surpass Zoffy's M78 ray. What a compliment. Ace's high expectations for Soren are simply staggering. You know, Zoffy is the captain of the Space Guard, and his strength and status are unquestionable. And now, Ace actually said that Soren might surpass him. Zoffy's M78 ray is a real pervert. When it is fully released, it can even burst a planet. Can the Ultra Gatlin he cast catch up with Zoffy? As he spoke, Ace began to explain to Soren in detail the various techniques and key points of Ultra Gatlin. Ultra Gatlin is a general term that includes most cutting skills, including Ultra Gatlin, Vertical Gatlin, Horizontal Gatlin, Circular Gatlin, Multiple Gatlin, and Ultimate Gatlin. Ace said seriously. The most powerful one is the Ultimate Severance, which has extremely terrifying destructive power and can easily cut the enemy in half. However, to learn the Ultimate Severance, you need to master other skills as a foundation. Hearing this, Soren's eyes flashed with expectation. and he continued to ask, how can I learn the Ultra Gatlin? Ace patiently explained, if you want to learn the Ultra Gatlin, you must first master its root, which is the 8-point light wheel. This is a basic cutting skill, but it is the basis of the Ultra Gatlin. Only by mastering the 8-point light wheel can you further learn more advanced Ultra Gatlin skills. After speaking, Ace slowly raised his hand, and the next moment, a flashing circular light wheel appeared in Ace's hand. The light wheel rotated rapidly, emitting a dazzling light, dazzling. Ace smiled and looked at Soren, and asked softly, do you want to learn? Soren nodded without hesitation, yes. Such a powerful skill, how could it not make people excited? Soren's eyes were full of desire and determination. He couldn't wait to learn this magical skill. Then I'll teach you. In the following time, Soren and Ace have been learning Ultra Gatlin on this desolate planet, starting from the most basic 8-point light wheel. Then the Ultra Gatlin that is divided into the 5 elements city by the 8-point light wheel, plus the vertical and horizontal Gatlin that slowly unfolds the energy with both hands together. Learning layer by layer, Soren didn't know how much time had passed. In the eyes of the immortal race like Ultraman, time is the least valuable. Originally, Soren awakened the memory of interpretation and might still care about time. But long-term learning has made him gradually forget time. Until today, Soren has completely memorized all the Ultraman headgear, and Ace looked at himself with complexity. The learning speed may not be as fast as his own, but the power released by the Gatlin is at least 3 times that of his own, and this is only because Soren does not have enough energy in his body. Once Soren's energy gradually catches up, or like Zero, he gets the recognition of the Plasma Spark Tower by chance. Then, Soren's strength may leap to become an elite warrior, or it is not impossible to be a quasi-legend like Brother Zoffy. The pillar of the Kingdom of Light in the future may be Soren. How does it feel to have your own special move? Standing in front of Soren, Ace asked in a low voice. A little happy, but also a little unreal. Soren looked at his white hands, and the loading of the entries was too exaggerated. Especially the guillotine entry, when he really touched the guillotine, Soren mastered it almost instantly, but he didn't say it, it was too shocking to the world. This is a forbidden technique, not an ordinary light. When Ace passed the guillotine to himself, Soren felt itchy in his hands and hungry in his body. The guillotine entry and the loading entry can't wait. It's not true. This power is so strong that it is listed as a forbidden technique. Remember, the heart of enthusiasm cannot be extinguished. Protect the weak and safeguard peace. Trust your partners. This is the mission of the Kingdom of Light. Ace's words were very serious, but Soren just recalled what Ace said in Leo. Trust your partners? What if the situation is urgent? Brothers, kill Astra. Chapter 11. I remember, Mr. Ace. It's okay to be unreliable, but you have to be serious when you need to be serious. Soren kept what Ace said in mind. The Ultraman world is different from other worlds. There is no intrigue here. Especially the Ultraman race. There are only 2 bad species among billions of races. This is a country comparable to Utopia. The powerful strength has not blinded their hearts. Protecting this universe is their innate mission. Very good. Ace naturally saw Soren's seriousness and was glad that he did not make a mistake. Then he came to Soren with a look of relief. Next, let me test your true strength. Fight with all your strength. Soren asked uncertainly. Fight with all your strength. Don't underestimate me. I am the director of the Space Guard, one of the Nebula branches. Ace said confidently. Soren hesitated to speak. How to say it? The guillotine is golden in color, so its attributes are naturally very strong. The strength of the guillotine lies in the fact that it has an extremely exaggerated blessing for all cutting skills, 5 times the blessing. It has 10 times the blessing when facing the super beast, but the guillotine also has an extremely terrible passive. That is, Soren himself does not know whether the guillotine he released will trigger a critical hit at once, and directly bless it with 10 times the power. Teacher Ace may not be able to withstand the blessing of the 10-fold powerful guillotine. Come on, show me your results. The better you perform, the happier I am. In this way, I can also show off my disciple to 7. Seeing Soren's concern, Ace deliberately raised his fist and gave Soren a thumbs up. Okay. He nodded firmly, and then his body suddenly stepped back 100 meters. The 2 bodies of more than 50 meters looked at each other on the barren planet plane. The invisible momentum floated on the 2 people, accompanied by a flash of starlight. The next second, the light in the white eyes of the 2 began to shine brighter than before. The bodies of several hundred meters were crossed almost instantly, and in a split second, the 2 raised their arms and slammed into each other fiercely. Crossing their arms to resist the attack, Soren took the lead in attacking, and his raised arms suddenly turned in the direction, and a fierce elbow hit Ace's shoulder. Ace's height is only 55 meters, but Soren is nearly 60 meters tall, which is quite tall among the Ultraman clan. The difference of 5 meters, the arm can just hit Ace's head. But how could Ace, who has rich combat experience, be attacked so easily? He lowered his head slightly, gave up the upper body directly, and stretched out his legs to kick Soren's knees. Soren did not dodge or avoid, but chose to bear it directly. The exaggerated physical fitness directly made Ace's attack ineffective, and it felt like kicking on an iron mountain. Rub, rub, rub. Although he was the one who attacked, Ace's body retreated several steps. He looked at Soren with amazement. Is this the physical fitness that Zero exaggerated? Such physical fitness is a natural material for fighting. As expected, different reactions. I have fought with 7, Leo, the first generation and even Zoffy. You have different skills from each of them. In the words of the first generation, you are a Red King. Ace's words made Soren stunned for a moment. Red King? Is this insulting him or praising him? Wait, isn't Red King the representative of strong but brainless? Is Ace mocking me for just bearing his attack? Star Ray, however, at this moment, Ace suddenly launched an attack, clapping his hands suddenly, and little by little starlight spread from his hands like stars, attacking Soren at a very fast speed. With a keen sense, Soren was smart and immediately pushed forward with both hands. Ultra Barrier, the transparent barrier, blocked in front of him, blocking Ace's attack. Boy, you are still a little naive. Although Ultra Barrier is a must-learn defensive skill, few Ultramen use it. Do you know why? While resisting Ace's attack, Soren asked with difficulty, why? Ultra Barrier needs to be supported by both hands. Only when it is practiced to a high level can it be supported with one hand, so that you can defend with one hand and attack with the other hand. If you are defending with all your strength now, how can you fight back? While speaking, Ace increased the energy attack, layer after layer like endless waves, not giving Soren any chance to breathe. In the blink of an eye, the distance between Ace and Soren has reached 2 or 3 meters. The light in Ace's hand is still crushing Soren continuously, not giving Soren any chance to resist. Just like this, how should you face it? As he said this, Ace slowly loosened his palms, one hand continuously released star rays, and the other hand began to emit white light. When the white light flashed, it turned into a samurai sword. Seeing this scene, Soren's face turned green. Isn't this the samurai sword that cut off the head of the super beast Draggery? You use this skill to deal with your disciples? Are you still a human? I'm not a super beast. How should you resist this move? After saying this, Ace swung the samurai sword in his hand. Suddenly, a flash of inspiration came to his mind. Soren recalled the performance of an Ultraman in the memory of awakening. Ultraman Ake, the Ultraman who releases imagination. The trick is... Hey, I have a ghost idea. In the battle with monsters, Ake also dealt with such a situation, and his solution was... Let Ace's unexpected situation happen. Soren suddenly pulled back the ultra barrier that he had stretched out his arm to push forward. Want to block both the star rays and the samurai sword at the same time? That's a good idea, but the main function of the ultra barrier is to resist the enemy's energy shooting, and physical attacks cannot be resisted. However, the scene that happened next directly confused Ace. Soren suddenly increased the energy output of the ultra barrier in his hand, turning the entire barrier from transparent to blue-white, and then, the barrier fell hard on his knees. With a click, the ultra barrier instantly split into 2 halves, like a mirror, but strangely did not dissipate. When the mirror shattered, the cracked part was very sharp. At this moment, the cracked ultra barrier was like 2 big swords, held in Soren's hands. The violent muscles of the Red Clan were fully displayed at this moment. Raising the barrier sword in his hand, Soren stabbed directly at Ace's waist. This move would not only stun Ace, but even experienced fighters like Zoffy and Ultra Father would be stunned. Ultra Barrier can still attack? No, Ultra Barrier can still be used like this? Before he could think about it, with a clang, the violent force and sharp pain suddenly pierced into Ace's body. Just like being hit by a jeep, Ace's body flew backwards in the sky and fell back several hundred meters. A ditch appeared on the barren desert plain. Teacher Ace, are you okay? Chapter 12. Ace was speechless at the moment. Of course, he was fine. He was just a little shocked. It turned out that the ultra barrier could be used like this. This moment seemed to open the door to a new world for Ace. I'm fine. This battle is not over yet. Your performance has exceeded my expectations. Anyway, you have now fully passed the qualification of the reserve Ultra Guard. But I still want to test your true strength. Show your Ultra Guillotine. Ace used the healing ray to heal the injured area, and then stood up again. This kid was really cruel. Even if Ace had expected it in his heart, he could not have imagined that Soren's power would be so great. It was at least 200,000 tons just now. The average adult's Ultra Grip is only about 10 tons. Soren is not yet fully adult, but his power is so strong. When he grows up completely, it is hard to imagine how powerful he will be. After the collision, the two took a few steps back, looked at each other, and collided with each other again at lightning speed, like 2 red lightnings. Soren's fists and feet attacked Ace like a violent storm. Each blow carried enough power to collapse mountains and split rocks, and the air was buzzing because of the collision of the two peoples fighting. Ace dodged sideways and hit back. In an instant, light splashed, and the shock wave of energy spread all around, raising billowing smoke and dust. After another fierce collision, the timer on Soren's chest began to flash as he flew backwards. Timer light. The circular timer emitted a light similar to lightning, which slashed towards Ace's chest at a very fast speed. With a bang, sparks flew, and Ace staggered and almost fell to the ground. After reacting, he endured the severe pain and began to fire cross-energy beams from Ace's palm continuously. Soren did not dodge or avoid, and used his strong physical fitness to withstand Ace's attack. While running towards Ace, an extremely sharp 8-point light wheel suddenly condensed in his hand. The 8-point light wheel shone with dazzling light and spun rapidly. The cross-energy beam released by Ace whizzed in and collided violently with the rapidly rotating 8-point light wheel. The 8-point light wheel was like an indestructible blade, instantly cutting the violent energy attack in half, and the light splashed everywhere. Dust spread all over this desolate land because of the collision between the two, and Soran's entire figure was completely covered by dust. Only the sound of the 8-point light wheel spinning constantly emerged in Ace's mind. Ace looked at the dust around him vigilantly. Suddenly, there was a movement from above, and a sense of threat suddenly enveloped Ace's heart. Above. Looking up suddenly, Soran jumped and came to the top of Ace's head at this moment, and raised the 8-point light wheel in his hand high. Seeing this scene, Ace's face turned green. Isn't the 8-point light wheel a long-range attack? When did it become a close-range weapon? Which master taught you this? There was no time to think, there was a loud bang, and Ace mobilized all the energy in his body to cover his arms, but the distance was too close and there was no way to resist effectively. I can only use my own body to bear it. Tear, tear. Like electric welding, dazzling sparks kept flashing from Ace's arms. Cha! With a roar of war, colorful light suddenly appeared on Ace's crossed arms. Meslim Ray. This is Ace's unique nirvana, with a very terrible penetration, which Ace specially developed to fight against biological weapons and super beasts. Although Soran is very strong at present, and the 8-point light wheel in his hands has also burst out several times the power, it is still obvious that it is not enough in front of Ace, an elite warrior with 10,000 years of combat experience. With a thud, the white 8-point light energy turned into fragments and collapsed everywhere. Soran's body was also rushed back in the sky by the Meslim Ray, like a kite. Fortunately, the fighting master made Soran thick-skinned and stood up after rolling on the ground for a few rounds, looking as if he was not injured. Are you okay? Ace hurried to Soran. Looking at his disciple in front of him, his expression was a little complicated. He finally understood what it felt like for Seven to see Zero surpass him. Just now, he couldn't resist the attack of Soran's light saw man that fell from the sky, so, the final outcome was that he burst out with all his strength. He mobilized his Meslim and released his ultimate move to break Soran's attack, otherwise he would be seriously injured if he continued to bear it. Don't worry, Teacher Ace, you know my strength. Soran stood up as if nothing had happened, and then deliberately showed his muscles. It's good that you're fine, it's a pity, there's no way, test your guillotine level, but the 8-point light wheel is already so powerful, the guillotine must not be weak. Ace looked at Soran with some regret. He had just experienced Soran's 8-point light wheel in person, and Ace had a rough idea of Soran's strength. Originally, he planned to stand in place and raise the ultra barrier, allowing Soran to attack with the guillotine, but now he estimated it. Can't do that, otherwise, his ultra barrier probably won't be able to withstand it. That's fine. Mo was relieved. He was also afraid that the guillotine item would suddenly hit critically. If Ace couldn't withstand it, he could only ask Mother of Ultra. But I have this. After saying that, Ace's timer flashed, and a familiar energy calculation screen appeared again. It's almost the same to test it with the energy calculation screen. Just have an idea in your mind, and use it with all your strength. The limit of this energy calculation screen is the limit of the elite warrior. It was designed specifically for Zero after Zero was recognized by the Plasma Spark Tower. Ace explained it first. Soran couldn't help but become curious, how many tons of power did Zero use at the time? 500,000. Soran took a breath of cold air when he heard it. 500,000 tons of power, this is just the power generated by the energy explosion. The most terrifying thing about Ultraman's ultimate move light is never the power, but the temperature and explosion in it. 500,000 tons of ray power can easily blow up a mountain several thousand meters in size. The focus of the particles of the ray is different. For example, the guillotine focuses on its sharp cutting ability, so the power generated by it is definitely not as good as the fatal ray, and there is no need to compare it with Zero. Ace mistakenly thought that Soran wanted to compete with Zero. After all, they were still young and full of youth, so he reminded him. I understand. Soran nodded. In terms of data, the guillotine is basically at a disadvantage when compared with the fatal ray, but in terms of real power, that's hard to say. Chapter 13. Are you ready? On the desolate planet, standing in the middle of the crack, this was just cut out by the 8-point light wheel. The endless dust and broken traces seemed to be telling of Soran's violent behavior. I'm ready. Soran took a deep breath, and the energy in his body was trembling. This was excitement. He had mastered all 6 moves of Ultra Guillotine. Originally, Soran only planned to use a guillotine at random. But Ace had taken out the elite level energy template for testing. He was currently just a high-level warrior, and he couldn't break it anyway. So, how about trying the ultimate guillotine? This is the strongest move I have mastered at present. It's just right to take this opportunity to see what level my strength has reached, so as to face the next crisis. Come on, use the guillotine you are best at. Ace said hurriedly, standing in the distance. Soran nodded firmly, then turned the power in the timer, and the rich light energy gathered in his hands. At this moment, Soran crossed his hands and gathered them above his head, and the white energy connected his hands like a crescent. What is this? The ultimate guillotine. Ace was naturally familiar with this posture, which was the most powerful move among the guillotines. When he was on Earth, his own Meslim rays could not break through the body of the powerful super beast King Qiangbo, and finally he had to use this ultimate guillotine to completely kill him. For a moment, Ace was a little worried whether the energy test template he had just taken from the Space Science and Technology Bureau could hold on. The power of the ultimate guillotine is more than 6 times stronger than that of an ordinary guillotine. The elite level energy test template should be able to withstand it, right? After condensing the light energy, Soren suddenly raised his right hand, and placed his left hand at his wrist, and the shape of a shuriken began to appear on his right hand. At this moment, the energy shuriken exuded violent power, and the white and blue energy kept flashing, gathering and compressing. At this moment, Soren was like holding a sun in his hand. Ace swallowed his saliva when he saw this. He knew the power of the ultimate guillotine very well. Moreover, Soren was compressing his light energy and accumulating it continuously. The power of the shuriken in his hand at this moment made Ace dare not breathe. Should I apply to Brother Zofei and the captain for a report? Ace couldn't help thinking, but it was too late to think about it now. Teacher Ace. I'm ready. After shouting loudly, Soren could no longer control the energy condensed on his wrist and swung it forward suddenly. However, the 5-meter-sized shuriken turned into 500 meters in an instant when it was thrown out, which was almost the same size as Ace. The speed of rotation, the sound, and even the surrounding space began to have faint cracks. FK. Ace couldn't help but widen his eyes when he saw this, and burst out of his mouth a catchphrase from the earth. Is this still the ultimate guillotine? Ace looked at the rapidly rotating shuriken in confusion. The normal ultimate guillotine is only 30 meters in size at most. He used the most common ultimate guillotine to deal with King Qiangbo, and easily cut King Qiangbo's body that was enough to resist his ultimate move. This 500-meter-long ultimate guillotine? How did Soren release it? No, now is not the time to investigate this. The most important thing now is, this ultimate guillotine. How long can it last? In an instant, the 500-meter-long guillotine shuriken blasted towards the energy plate that tested the energy. As Ace expected, the energy plate was easily cut like tofu. Ace had expected this. When he saw the ultimate guillotine released by Soren was 100 meters in size, he knew he was in trouble. The energy template couldn't even support the 10-meter-sized ultimate guillotine, let alone the super ultimate guillotine that suddenly expanded 100 times. What Ace was worried about was, how far could the ultimate guillotine, which the energy test template couldn't stop, fly? Don't accidentally hurt the spaceship or other patrolling Ultraman in the middle. Whoosh! The guillotine flew forward rapidly, and wherever it passed, the planets under its feet were cut into trenches that were tens of meters deep. This was just caused by the aftermath of the rotation. How terrible is the power of the real ultimate guillotine? Even Soren, the user, was a little stunned when he saw the power of the ultimate guillotine. He already had a guess in his mind that this was definitely not the power of a normal ultimate guillotine. Could this be 100 times critical hit? 1% chance that he could encounter it. It was a critical hit the first time it was used. Am I so lucky? Hiss, no wonder the air was cracked and the space couldn't bear the ultimate guillotine after a 10-fold critical hit. Normally, the power of an ordinary guillotine is at least 3 times that of an Ultraman's special move. And the ultimate guillotine is 6 times more powerful than the most basic guillotine. Bless it with your own entry, 100 times. Who can resist it? A 500-meter-long ultimate guillotine. Even the little golden man can't hold it. Ace and Soren looked at each other and were stunned for a while. Soren then slowly said, it should dissipate by itself, right? You ask me about the skills you released? We can only pray that there are no blind cosmic people or monsters in the direction you shot it. Ace was a little amused. Fortunately, the place he chose was a bit desolate, and the nearby country of light was basically no blind cosmic people coming over. Don't worry, it's okay. Ace came to Soren and patted Soren's shoulder. But you kid, it's better to use this move less in the future. There are basically few monsters in the universe that can withstand your ultimate guillotine. If you don't encounter life-threatening safety, it's better not to use it. Even if you use it, you must not let others see it, otherwise. As he said, Ace sighed inexplicably, and his back was slightly lonely. At the beginning, he was on the battlefield because he developed the Ultra Guillotine, and then he was very proud, although he was invincible on the battlefield. But the power of the guillotine is too brutal and full of blood. It doesn't conform to the peace-loving temperament of the Kingdom of Light. Then it was banned by the Ultra Brothers. Even if you want to use it, you have to send them an Ultra Signature application and get their approval before you can use it. It's too aggrieved. And now Soren, who is just a high-level warrior, has such terrible power. When he grows to the same level as himself in the future, or even the same as the captain, he has a truly limitless future. Chapter 14. When Soren returned to the Kingdom of Light, he realized that a year had passed unknowingly. It took a whole year of learning on that desolate planet to finally master the guillotine. Soren still had the blessing of the entry, and it took another year. No wonder it is called the forbidden technique of the Kingdom of Light. It is not only powerful, but also difficult to learn. Fortunately, the cost of this year is worth it. Zeta, long time no see. Returning to the monster training base in the ring training. Feeling the atmosphere of the primeval forest, Soren's heart couldn't help but float a little. Long time no see, I'm bored to death training here every day, but you will never believe it. I will definitely surprise you now. Zeta came to Soren with excitement. Detected that the entry can be loaded? Please load it. Oh? Is there a new entry? Soren thought and came to Zeta without hesitation. As the two touched each other. Loading. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the entry, Zestim Zestim, purple. The light released by the powerful Zestim particles can burst out with powerful strength. Visible, it releases stim rays. What is this? Loading Zeta's trick. Can the entry also get this? As the entry was loaded, Soren suddenly felt that his body had an inexplicable power, which was similar to the original light in his body, the same warmth, but with a little more penetrating characteristics. No. Soren suddenly widened his eyes and looked at the twisting of the energy in his body in disbelief. The moment Zeta's blue-white zestim particles appeared in his body, they were swallowed up by the silver-white original light in the timer. At the same time, Soren also felt that the energy in his body seemed to have a little zestim's characteristics. Energy inclusion. A flash of inspiration flashed in his mind, and he instantly understood where this inexplicable swallowing came from. Zeta's energy inclusion allows Zeta to use the metal power of all Ultra Warriors from Showa to Heisei and from darkness to light without any difficulty. It is estimated that Hikari also developed the sublimator from Zeta, so it was named Zeta Sublimator. And the characteristic is to borrow the energy of other Ultramen, and Zeta's characteristic is to embrace everything. And now, Soren has already obtained the golden term of energy embrace, and originally planned to keep it for development. But now it seems that I still underestimated this golden term. To embrace energy, to embrace all energy, most Ultraman's special moves are condensed through their own special energy. An example of a common special move in the Kingdom of Light is the Specium particle. But in addition to Specium, there are some special moves that are unique to these Ultraman or racial talents. Then can I create a super special move that integrates all Ultraman's special moves? Soren thought, just like the miracle ray of the universe. The special ray that integrates the power of all Ultra brothers. He learned the ray skill, but Ace did not teach Soren the special ray. The special ray can either be understood by oneself or absorbed by finding a place with Specium particles. Thinking of this, Soren was inexplicably excited. He knew that with the arrival of the little golden man, a war was about to begin, and among them, it could be said that all the famous Ultramen in the history of Ultraman appeared with this turmoil in the universe. For himself, this is simply a great opportunity to improve his strength. Is the universe fun? Zeta asked curiously at this time. Where did I go to the universe? I didn't go to the universe. I just practiced on an asteroid next to the Kingdom of Light. Soren explained. The Zeta in front of him was like a student who had not yet left school, envying the freedom of the outside world, but had no idea that there were countless dangers hidden in freedom. Okay, but Soren, you have to hurry up to improve your strength. Master Zero came to me before and said that Hikari was recently studying props that could improve people's strength. Later, I don't know what happened, Hikari said that he would develop a special one for me to improve my strength. It's called the Zeta Sublimator, named after me. How about it? Awesome, right? Zeta said proudly. It's really amazing. Soren nodded, but this amazing sentence refers to Superman A. Guang. Hikaru. A maker of the new generation. An ordinary scientist in the Kingdom of Light. Just a civil servant, not so powerful, can only lift a bird with one hand. Scientists, with little power, can only lift a bird with one hand. There is a good poem that specifically describes Hikaru. The civil servant can use cheats to pacify the world, and the martial servant can use swords to kill Emperor. Even Soren doubted Hikaru's words that I am just a scientist and don't have the power they have. Is there a missing word weak in the middle? Not as weak as their power? Don't think that you are stronger than me now, but with the help of Director Hikaru, I believe my strength will catch up with yours. Zeta said firmly. Courage is commendable. Soren smiled faintly, you have cheats and I have them, now it's a competition of whose cheat is stronger. Congratulations to the host for successfully killing the ultimate life form Tartarus Plunder the red entry, Ultimate Life. Is the entry loaded? Ultimate Life, read the top life form in the universe, immortal, fast regeneration, super strength, and top defense. Energy increased by 500%. Physical fitness increased by 1000%. Defense increased by 1000%. Strength increased by 1000%. Energy absorption speed increased by 500%. What the hell? The smile on Soren's face froze immediately. Where did this red entry come from? When did I defeat the little golden man? You are too much of a cheat, right? Won't your account be banned? Chapter 15. Just by looking at the description of the entry, Soren can imagine how powerful the red entry is. The three-dimensional attributes soared tenfold. Even the height has grown a little bit unconsciously. Hidden under the red appearance are violent muscles that even King Red is afraid of. The physical fitness enhancement attached to the fighting master has made Soren's body far superior to ordinary Ultraman. Even among the red tribe, it is the top batch. Now there is another red entry, the ultimate life. Yes. All attributes are greatly improved as the entry is loaded. The muscles of the arms and abdomen are also more obvious. Zeta, who was talking to Soren, suddenly looked up in confusion, why do I suddenly feel that you have become taller again? Zeta was also a little uncertain. He not only felt that Soren had become taller, but even felt that he was stronger than before. But how could this be possible? Didn't Soren just chat with him? How could his strength improve for no reason? It must be an illusion. Although Zeta was comforting himself, he looked up and down at Soren with wide eyes. He found that he was indeed a little different from before. The light on his body was more textured, and the muscles under his body were as hard as iron. Even Master Leo was not so exaggerated, right? Zeta's diamond eyes widened in disbelief. Soren, have you become stronger again just now? Zeta's initial excitement and determination became weak at this moment. Although he believed in Hikari's ability, but, no matter how strong Hikari was, could the props he created catch up with Soren's speed of becoming stronger? He could become stronger just by chatting, which was simply not in line with the common sense of the Kingdom of Light. It violated the laws of the universe. No, it's just your illusion. Although Soren said so, he couldn't suppress his ecstasy at all. Too strong. The ultimate life of the red entry was really too strong. Now I can kill my previous self with one punch. The strength has reached the elite warrior, which is the standard strength of the Space Guard. Elite warriors can be regarded as the best of the Space Guard. Like Ace and other Ultra Brothers, their strength is also elite warriors, but elite warriors are also strong and weak. And the Ultra Brothers are naturally the elite warriors standing at the top. Zoffi, who burst out with all his strength, has already possessed the strength of a legendary warrior. But then again, where did this red entry come from? Could it be that the space was really shattered, and then the little golden man who was traveling through time and space was killed? Then this way of death is really a bit embarrassing. However, in fact, although it is not so exaggerated, it is almost the same. When Soren was experimenting with the ultimate guillotine before, the direction he threw it happened to be the direction of the Kingdom of Light. And the kingdom floating in the dimension. The little golden man slowly raised his head. I have sensed the energy breath similar to that of the kingdom. Is it the Kingdom of Light? I heard it is the Kingdom of Ultraman. Is Regulus also from the Kingdom of Light? The little golden bull Diablo asked curiously. Not all Ultramen come from the Kingdom of Light. You have experienced so much time and space with me, why haven't you made any progress? The little golden man looked at Diablo with disdain. Diablo's strength is good, especially after he obtained the Universe Fantasy Beast Fist, but this brain is a complete idiot anyway. Why are you so fierce, Tartarus? I'm not afraid of you. Diablo glared at Tartarus like a wild mad bull. I'm too lazy to talk to you. I have to collect information about the Kingdom of Light first. With a cold snort, the little golden man slowly stretched out his hand, and a golden vortex channel suddenly appeared in the space in front of him. I'll go and see what kind of power these Ultramen who claim to be the messengers of universe peace have. The little golden bull also walked towards the vortex impatiently. No, you don't need to appear for the time being. In another universe, there is an energy called the Eternal Core in that space and time. Go and see if you can take it. The little golden man shook his head and declined. I'll go alone. The little golden bull was a little stunned. Why, you don't have confidence in your own strength. There is only one Ultraman in that world, but there are 3 Dark Warriors. If you have confidence, you can subdue them. The little golden man shook his head, and without waiting for the little golden bull's answer, he strode directly into the transmission channel. The Kingdom of Light, from the outside, looks like a vibrant planet. The warm green light brings a fresh, dissipated energy that makes the entire planet present a breath similar to that of a primeval forest. It's worth it that I have crossed several universes and finally found you. The Kingdom of Light. This energy is really fascinating. Tartarus spread his hands, as if he wanted to hug the huge Kingdom of Light in front of him. The golden armor on his body began to sway with the wind of the universe, and it was already emitting a faint white light, which was full of greed. Although the distance was far away, Tartarus could still feel the powerful energy emitted by the Kingdom of Light. Although it was not as powerful as the absolute particles, the light of the plasma sparks was also very warm. For a moment, Tartarus was a little obsessed with it. This planet is great. Very smooth. Very suitable for their absolute tribe to live. This energy can definitely save the kingdom. King. It won't be long before it can be revived. The green planet was reflected in Tartarus's white eyes. Tartarus slowly clenched his fists, as if he wanted to grasp the Kingdom of Light in his hands. Hey? What is that? Meteorite fragments. Suddenly, a bright white light spot attracted Tartarus' attention. Until the distance got closer and closer, a sharp whistling sound made Tartarus' face change drastically. This is a shuriken beam that rotates at a very fast speed. The rotating diamond has turned into an afterimage, and the speed is so fast that it rotates at least 100,000 times per second. As the shuriken passed by, white cracks appeared in the void along the way. FK. Chapter 16. Tartarus's face turned green. He was close to it and finally knew what it was. Where is the fragment of the star? This is clearly a terrifying attack. The violent power suddenly appeared on it, and the entire universe was trembling. The buzzing sound was like a horn of death. The speed was so fast that the little golden man came in front of him almost the next second after he saw it, giving him no chance to react. In an instant, the extremely violent guillotine energy was completely vented. The guillotine that had crossed more than 10 light years finally had a destination at this moment. There was no chance to react at all. Karkaros didn't even have the chance to enter the space-time tunnel. In an instant, the white light cut everything off. A thick arm, with armor, flew in the air, and golden blood spilled all over the ground. Fortunately, at the critical moment, the golden space-time tunnel had been summoned. As the ultimate life form, the little golden man's signature skill is to travel through time and space and summon the space-time tunnel. Almost as soon as he thought of it, the space-time tunnel was summoned, but there was no chance to enter it. The ultimate guillotine had already cut through his body. Accompanied by a violent explosion, the violent shockwave caused the scattered body of the little golden man to fall completely. On the Kingdom Square, Diablo was searching for the coordinates left by Tartarus. On the golden instrument map, all the places marked by Tartarus in recent years when he was looking for energy or encountered some powerful creatures. There were so many that he could hardly see them all, which made Diablo, who didn't like to think, even more angry at this moment. Tartarus, this guy, when the king wakes up, I must tell him about his crimes. He relies on his strength to be stronger than me and commands this and that every day. King, wake up quickly, I need new power. And Regulus, that BD, how can he get the recognition of the two cosmic fantasy beast fists? If it weren't for Tartarus, I would have cut off his two arms long ago. Diablo's resentment kept floating, and the more he thought about it, the angrier he became. His fists were clenched tightly. Looking at the map instrument full of punctuation in front of him, he wanted to punch it. But he didn't dare to do so. If he really destroyed the time and space coordinates that Tartarus had collected for so many years, even if the king was resurrected, he couldn't save him. He could only wait until he became stronger in the future and let Titaros taste his iron fist. While Diablo was complaining and searching for the coordinates, a golden time and space tunnel suddenly appeared behind him. With a bang, the space behind him suddenly shattered. Tartarus's head rolled directly in front of him like a ball. The energy explosion was accompanied by the guillotine. The flames instantly filled the entire square, and the pillars supporting the square collapsed. What's going on? The kingdom has been discovered. Diablo was sweating. Some amazing soldiers quickly rushed over from all directions with weapons in hand, forming an encirclement to surround the center of the explosion. Get out of the way. Diablo pushed away the two soldiers who were blocking him, and his sturdy hands dispersed the dust in front of him. However, when he came to the center of the explosion, Diablo was completely stunned. Tartarus. What's going on? Am I hallucinating? Little Taurus looked at Tartarus in front of him with a confused face. The Tartarus in front of him was not as vigorous and majestic as before. The sturdy body was cut in half, the head fell to the side, the majestic eyes lost their luster at this moment, the golden blood spilled all over the ground, and the broken arm hung weakly to the side. It can be said that it is as miserable as it can be. Little Taurus could never have imagined how Tartarus could become so embarrassed. Didn't he just go out? He didn't even find the mission location, but he was beaten like this. Is the Kingdom of Light so terrible? At this time, Little Taurus was a little glad that he didn't go there. Quick! Move Tartarus' body to the Absolute Tower to illuminate it. As he said, Little Taurus quickly grabbed Tartarus' head in his hand and ran forward. The other small soldiers also hurriedly carried the broken parts of Tartarus' body over. As one of the four ultimate life forms of Absolute, they all have special means left by the king before he fell asleep. As the ultimate life form, they are basically immortal. As long as they are bathed in the light of Absolute, Tartarus will be completely resurrected. Even if he cannot be resurrected, Little Taurus can also use his Absolute heart to give to Tartarus. But what puzzled the little golden bull even more was, what on earth happened in the Kingdom of Light? It had only been a short while, and Tartarus had become like this. It was impossible not to be afraid. For a moment, the little golden bull was filled with fear for the so-called Kingdom of Light. It was too cruel. Tartarus was only going to get some information. If he had taken action, he would have called him. He was just getting information, and he was dismembered when he was discovered. Which BD said that the Ultraman in the Kingdom of Light was a peace-loving race. Your peace-loving race dismembered when they met. Diablo? What happened? The kingdom was attacked. At this moment, Titan, wearing golden armor and a swordsman's helmet, also came over. He was originally practicing, but suddenly heard a violent explosion and violent energy release, and woke up directly from the practice state. For a moment, he thought the kingdom was attacked. Where's Tartarus? After looking around, he didn't see Tartarus. As the person in charge of the kingdom, Titan couldn't help but frown. Here. Diablo slowly took out his hands from behind his back, and Tartarus' majestic and domineering face appeared. Chapter 17. Ace, you're just back. Just now, a very powerful energy appeared around the Kingdom of Light, and there were dimensional fluctuations. We suspect that there may be aliens hiding near the Kingdom of Light. Your perception is the most acute, so it's just right to investigate and see if there are any hidden aliens. Under the Plasma Spark Tower, Zoffy said to Ace with a serious face. I understand. Ace was slightly stunned, and then his expression immediately became excited. Dimensional fluctuations? Yabo people? The direction is the direction of Z726. Zoffy nodded. What the hell? 726. Ace's excited body paused, and then continued to ask, does the breath you sense a bit like the breath of a guillotine? Hey? How do you know? Zoffy looked at Ace in shock. He went to the place where the remains were left and saw that there was indeed an extremely sharp breath. The first reaction in his mind was Ace's guillotine, but he thought it was unlikely. Ace was a very good brother and would report to them if he used a guillotine. Moreover, the power of this guillotine is a bit strong, so strong that it doesn't seem like Ace can use it. No need to investigate, I came to you because of this matter. Ace suddenly sighed, which made Zoffy confused. Could it be that you fired the guillotine? Zoffy looked at Ace in disbelief. Of course not, it was Soren. Ace shook his head, but what he said made Zoffy even more speechless. If you say you fired it, I can barely believe it, but Soren, it's impossible. How long have you taken him out to study? If calculated in human time, it's less than a year. He learned the guillotine in a year, and the power is stronger than you? Do you think I believe it? Zoffy rolled his eyes at Ace at the moment. Although I know that you, brother Zoffy, can't do it, but this is the fact. I have said it long ago that Soren's talent in light is far superior to mine, especially the cutting type. He can burst out several times the power. Ace's tone was very sure. Zoffy was silent. If that's the case. In the future, monsters will not want a complete corpse on the battlefield. How do you plan to arrange him? Zoffy suddenly asked. Soren already has such a powerful force, it is a complete waste to let him stay in Ultra School. I decided to take him to the universe to protect peace. You also said that there has been unrest in the universe recently, and there is an unknown existence behind the scenes. I plan to take Soren and Zeta to investigate. Ace replied. No, you can't take Zeta away for the time being. Zofie shook his head at this time. Why? Ace was a little puzzled. Zeta and Soren were the best friends. Perhaps it was because the two of them had the same suffering and were picked up from the battlefield, so they played best when they were in Ultra Orphanage. Now Soren is getting stronger and stronger. If he doesn't speed up the improvement of Zeta's strength, I'm afraid that the things that happened to Taro and Torikia will happen again. He doesn't want to go down the dark path because of Zeta's pursuit of power. I have a research recently and need his help. There is a special particle in his timer that can accommodate all energy. Hikaru walked over slowly. Researching Zeta? There won't be any danger. Ace looked at Hikaru in front of him with caution. Of course not, it's just extracting the light particles in his body. It has no effect on him at all. Hikaru shook his head. Ace immediately relaxed, he still believed in Hikaru's research. Brother Zofie, it's not good. At this time, Taro and Libut came over with a gloomy face. What's wrong? Is there something wrong with Macaulay? Where's Max? Zofie looked at Libut at the moment and had a bad feeling. The reason for the desertification of Macaulay planet has been found. Someone is cultivating the Mog snake there. Max was attacked by the Slin people when he was fighting with Urbiros to save me. In order to save me, he was injected with Godis cells. Libut told the whole story. Then he looked at Zofie with a worried look. Captain Zofie, we have to save Max quickly, otherwise he will be assimilated by the monster. How could this happen? Ace was also a little unbelievable. Monsters that can destroy the universe actually appear at the same time. Zofie frowned. The strange thing is, can the Slin people do such a thing? Does he have such strength? It's not that Taro looks down on the Slin people. If you are an ordinary cosmic monster like Bimonstan, Red King, or even Barton, Taro can accept it. But if you are the entire Mogu Serpent, a monster that can destroy the universe, can it listen to the command of a weak chicken like you? Suddenly, there was a loud noise in the sky, and Eddie brought Julian slowly to the headquarters of the Space Guard. Sora. Libut. Libut approached with a happy face. He and Sora were also childhood friends. They met again, and they were naturally very happy. How was the meeting with the Queen? Zofie asked curiously. He was naturally very concerned about establishing diplomatic relations with other universes. We were attacked by Rugset. Eddie said with a depressed look. Rugset? Another terrifying monster that can destroy the universe. It's the devourer of the universe. Ace's eyes widened. Something is wrong, 12 points out of 10. It's a bit abnormal. We must investigate it clearly. Zofie immediately turned his head and looked at Hikari seriously. Hikari, how many days can Max last? According to my calculations, Max should use all his strength to resist the invasion of Godis cells, and should be able to last 3 days. Hikari calculated and replied after a while. Can a drug that resists Godis cells be produced in 3 days? The honor of the Science and Technology Bureau is at stake. Please. Libut, you go to planet K76 for training first, and 3 days later, we will go to planet Macaulay to save Max. Taro also looked at Libut at this time. K76? I understand. Libut nodded firmly. As for Rugset. Zofie hesitated for a while at this time. Leave it to me. Ace suddenly walked out. You. Zofie was stunned, and then understood in an instant, you want to take. Yes, nothing will happen with me watching. Chapter 18. Ace was full of confidence at this moment. He had the strength. Then I'll leave it to you. If possible, investigate how Rugset came from. Zofie said seriously. One after another, powerful monsters that could destroy the universe appeared, and he couldn't help but get nervous. Do you need me to go with you? At this time, Eddie came to the side and said. No, you should protect Princess Julian's safety. Ace shook his head. His own strength is enough to face Rugset alone, not to mention that Soren's strength is not weak. However, isn't it a bit bad to let Soren face the top monsters just after leaving the universe? Forget it, ask this kid's opinion. It's so boring to stay here to train every day. I don't know what Master Zero is doing. I have learned all the cosmic boxing that was passed on to me. Lying on the lawn of the training ground, Zeta stared at the sky blankly. The day-to-day training made him feel that such a life was a bit boring. Zeta's biggest interest before was to listen to the space guards talk about the vastness and dangers outside the universe. You still can't forget your inner journey into the universe. Soren said casually. Of course I can't forget it, but my dream is that I must play all the scenery and fun things in the universe. Zeta said excitedly. Will you join us then? The universe is vast and boundless, and the two of us can wander with Senior Kai. Forget it. Soren waved his hand. Hey, Soren, what is your dream? Zeta asked curiously. Dream, maybe to live, become stronger, and then find someone who shares the same ideals or a woman. Soren deliberately emphasized the last 3 words. People? Humans? I heard that they are a very incredible race. The reason why the Ultra Brothers have become so strong is because they have a bond with humans. What is a bond? It's a good thing. You will have it soon. He is looking forward to the fusion of Zeta and Haruki, and the official evolution of Zeta Ultraman into Ultraman. Suddenly, runes flashed in the sky. The ultra signature of Ace Nissan is for you. Zeta took a look and said hurriedly. Soran also stood up instantly, and after a quick farewell to Zeta, he flew to where Ace was. He came to the headquarters of the Space Guard, and Soran saw Ace waving at him at a glance. Teacher Ace, is there anything important? I have good news for you. You can leave the Kingdom of Light. Let's go to the vast universe together. Ace said very proudly. Going to the vast universe is an instinct engraved in the genes of Ultraman who has lived in the Kingdom of Light since childhood. Can we go to the universe? Soren's voice was full of surprise and excitement. The universe at this point in time was not peaceful. Tartarus didn't know how many powerful monsters he had pulled from parallel universes. Soren was sure that as long as he killed these monsters, he would be able to obtain entries from them. Just like Tartarus. Speaking of the little golden man, Soren himself couldn't help but mourn for him. 1% critical hit chance can be encountered, the ultimate guillotine with 100 times the power. It is estimated that the little golden man didn't react at the time and was killed directly, but as an ultimate life form, it should not be so easy to die. Just like the Rebrando star, the ashes were scattered, but the soul was still alive. Of course, but this time I go out to perform a mission, a very dangerous mission, do you dare to go? When talking about the mission, Ace's tone suddenly became serious. Of course. Soran nodded firmly. The ultimate guillotine with 100 times the power is indeed powerful, but this thing depends on the probability. With a 1% chance, you can't use it 100 times every time. It is not advisable to pin your strength on vague hopes. You still have to improve your own strength. It is always good to get more entries. Catch the Universe Devourer, Rugset. As soon as he said this, Soren was surprised. It turned out to be Rugset. But since Rugset has appeared, the plot of Galaxy Fight 2 is about to begin. Rugset is Rob's final boss, known as the Cosmic White Blood Cell. It has destroyed countless planets and its strength is extremely terrifying. But Soren is not afraid. Although Rugset is a legendary monster, it is not invincible. If you let him face Grija Leaf Fu now, such Soren may be a little timid. But Rugset? No problem. The most important thing is, I don't know if I will meet Gao's injustice when I go to attack Narugset this time. That's Rigido. If I can get the entry on Rigido. Hiss looking at Soren who was trapped in fantasy, Ace shook his head helplessly. Although your light talent is very good, you should not fall behind in fighting. There are still lost phantom beasts in the universe. If you practice day after day, you may attract the attention of the phantom beasts and let you master the universe phantom beast fist. Cosmic phantom beast fist? I wrote it down. Soren nodded. You are right. I have to develop in all aspects. Just like Zero, whether it is energy or fighting, it is the top. It's the development of form. It depends on what is the energy tolerance limit of Zeta. It would be great if I could get the energy of the mysterious 4OS. Soren dared not imagine how strong he would be if he merged the energy of the mysterious 4OS into one of his forms. Chapter 19. In the vast universe, blue nebulae dot the sky and countless meteorites streak by. The scenery of the universe is beautiful, but hidden under the beauty is a terrible danger. Don't be immersed in the beauty of the universe. Ace warned Soren with a vigilant look. I know this. In his previous life, his favorite food was mushrooms. The more beautiful the mushrooms, the more poisonous they were. Zhang Wuji's mother also said that the more beautiful a woman is, the more likely she is to lie. By the same token, the more beautiful the universe, the more dangerous it is. According to the intelligence department, the black cloud transformed by Rugset is flying towards the direction of the planet Fed. We have to hurry up and not let Rugset continue to destroy the planet. As soon as the voice fell, the red ball accelerated suddenly. At this moment, deep in the kingdom, with the golden absolute particles injected into Tartarus's weak body, the body that was torn into pieces was connected by the faint golden particles, and the missing parts were growing rapidly at a speed visible to the naked eye. It seems that my guess is right. Diablo breathed a sigh of relief. But we use the energy needed by the king to revive Tartarus, which is also a great burden for the king. Titan was a little worried. What can we do? Who is the one who injured Tartarus? The power is too great, and the energy supply has been cut off. Ordinary absolute particles can't be restored at all. Even if it is the absolute heart, at least half of the life must be allocated to revive Tartarus. Diablo said with a cold face. The absolute heart is a treasure that belongs to him alone. It can allow him to revive 5 times. If it is allocated once, he can still accept it, but if you directly want half of the heart, I'm sorry, you can die wherever you want. At this point, Titan couldn't help but nodded. 3 days ago, they brought Tartarus here. Logically speaking, even if the Absolute Warriors died in battle, they would be resurrected as long as they returned to the kingdom and accepted the illumination of the Absolute Light Tower. But when they brought Tartarus, they found that the Absolute Particles on the Absolute Light Tower could not connect to Tartarus' body at all. It was as if there was an invisible force at the cut place, preventing the Absolute Particles from approaching. Diablo stretched out his fingers and touched it when he was puzzled, but found that there was a residual energy in the cut part of Tartarus' body, which was very terrible. It was just the residual power, but it still couldn't let the Absolute Particles approach, and without the Absolute Particles connecting the body, Tartarus couldn't be resurrected at all. However, the two also knew how important Tartarus' ability was as an ultimate life form. It was because of Tartarus' ability to travel through time and space that they could summon powerful helpers. Therefore, Tartarus must not die. Ordinary absolute particles are not enough, so they set their sights on the absolute particles where the king of absolute was sleeping. There was still some effect. The powerful absolute particles directly dispelled the aftermath of the injury and forcibly connected Tartarus' body. Finally, after being illuminated by the light, Tartarus was now fully restored. Next, as long as the energy is replenished, Tartarus will wake up again. Finally, after receiving the continuous replenishment of energy, Tartarus's grey eyes quietly opened. Diablo and Titan were looking at him from the opposite side. What's wrong with me? A confused voice came out of Tartarus' mouth. The long coma made his brain fall into a downtime state at this moment. Tartarus, think carefully about what happened. How could you be so seriously injured? Even dead, the light of the Absolute Light Tower can't revive you. It's abominable. Diablo gritted his teeth and said. But it must be said that Tartarus's resurgence did make him feel relieved. Otherwise, without Tartarus's ability, the woman would go to other universes to perform missions, and they would be helpless. The countdown for the destruction of the kingdom would immediately begin. Am I dead? Tartarus looked at his hands in confusion. Although the physical injuries had recovered, the cut marks on the armor were still clearly visible. He remembered. He had just gone to the Kingdom of Light to feel whether the energy symbol of the Kingdom of Light in the original universe met the needs of the kingdom. He didn't even do anything and didn't even ask for any intelligence. He saw a beam of light. No, it was an attack. An extremely powerful attack. The ultimate guillotine of the Kingdom of Light. Damn it. I was ambushed. Tartarus, who had traveled through countless time and space, naturally knew that the attack was the ultimate guillotine of Ace Ultraman among the Ultra Brothers. But is Ace in this world so terrible? The way the ultimate guillotine spun, just thinking about it made Tartarus shudder all over. 500-meter-long shuriken. The whistling sound of the cutting almost deafened Tartarus. Not to mention being cut. The main thing is that the thing has a tracking function. It would have been fine if it had cut off one of his arms, but he turned a corner and cut off his head. I have heard that Ace likes to dismember bodies, but I didn't expect it to be so perverted. What do you mean? It was Ultraman Ace who killed you. Diablo and Titan said in unison. I'm not sure, but that is indeed Ultraman Ace's ultimate guillotine. In the entire Kingdom of Light. Only Ace can use it. Tartarus said with a gloomy face. Whether it is Ace or not, the guillotine was invented by you, right? You should bear the blame first. Chapter 20. There's news from Rebos that Ace is taking an unknown Ultraman to hunt down Rugset. Do you want to meet this Ace? Titan said at this time. Go. If we don't investigate that attack clearly, our plan will not succeed. Tartarus said firmly. But you just recovered. Titan was worried at this time. Resurrection is not so easy. Hey? Yes, didn't I just resurrect? How come the energy in my body is full? After sensing, Tartarus was also stunned. Why is there something wrong with the absolute energy in his body? In theory, after just resurrection, the energy in the body is empty, and even temporarily loses combat effectiveness. Why do I feel not only not empty, but even stronger than before? Ahem, ordinary absolute particles can't connect your cut body at all, so Diablo brought some of the absolute particles used by the king to sleep. Titan said with some guilt. What? Diablo, you are such a traitor. The king is recovering at this critical moment, and you rashly took away the absolute particles. Are you crazy? Tartarus looked at Diablo in shock. What can I do? You know how important your ability is. Once you die, not to mention the king, the entire absolute clan will be destroyed? In the final analysis, this matter is still your fault. If you don't die, wouldn't there be so many problems? Diablo's voice became louder and louder, and he directly put his hands on his waist with confidence. You. Okay, stop arguing, let's first investigate who killed Tartarus. Titan stopped the quarrel between the two. The little golden man twitched his mouth. Can you please not mention killing? I am the current leader after all. It's embarrassing to rashly mention death, okay? Okay. Go and save Rugset first. Diablo, you are tough and have the heart of Absolute. You can test Ace first. Titan will assist me. I will open the space-time channel immediately. If the situation is not right, we will run away immediately. The little golden man quickly calculated the tactics. No problem. Little Taurus and Little Golden Sword certainly had no objection. After the group was ready. Open the space-time tunnel directly. It's right in front. Shoot it down. At this moment, Ace and Soren, who were moving very fast in the red ball, also found Rugset fleeing. In front, a black and red nebula was moving quickly. The two flew directly into space without any hesitation. Vertical guillotine metallium ray. The two attacks fell into the clouds, and a huge explosion sounded, accompanied by sparks and a muffled groan. The black and red nebula fell quickly. With a thud, it hit an unknown planet. A huge cloud of dust rose up, and Soren and Ace landed steadily on the opposite side. The attack was a vertical guillotine, this kid. Looking at Soren, Ace was a little speechless for a moment. This guy really used the forbidden technique of the Kingdom of Light as a small skill. However, facing such a powerful enemy, there is no skill better than the guillotine. As the falling dust slowly dissipated, the 70-meter-tall colorful dragon Rugset was completely revealed opposite Soren and Ace. The overall appearance is similar to that of a dragon, and the yellow eyes have flashes of lightning. The huge wings flapped behind him, and there were sharp arm blades on his arms. The body color is dark, but colorful. The extremely terrifying appearance and powerful abilities make up Rugset, the Universe Devourer. You have nowhere to escape. Ace took 2 steps forward and took a fighting posture. The only response to him was a roar from Ruxet, and then the yellow eyes suddenly fired a laser beam. Ultra Barrier. Ace directly erected the Ultra Barrier in front of him with one hand, and then the 8-point light wheel spread out from his right hand, and he walked towards Ruxet step by step against Ruxet's laser beam. Soren also reacted quickly. He jumped behind Ruxet and punched hard on Ruxet's back. The place where he was hit was directly sunken. It can be seen how terrible Soren's power is. The dual physical fitness of the ultimate life and the fighting master. Soren can easily exert hundreds of thousands of tons of power with one punch. With one punch, Ruxet's eyeballs were almost knocked out. At this time, Ace, who was carrying the laser beam, had come to Ruxet. He raised the Ultra Barrier in his hand directly high, like a huge door panel, and smashed it towards Ruxet's dragon head. With a thud, the Ultra Barrier shattered like a mirror, followed by the 8-point light wheel on Ace's right hand. The last battle with Soren opened the door to Ace's new world. It turns out that the Ultra Barrier can not only defend, but also the 8-point light wheel is not only a long-range attack. Slazla. A violent collision sounded, and the 8-point light wheel in Ace's hand pressed against Rugoset's neck, sparks flew everywhere, and it was as brilliant as fireworks. The Absolute Trio, who had just walked out of the time and space tunnel, saw this brutal scene and couldn't help but stop. Is this Ace? It's worthy of being the original universe, much more brutal than other universes. I heard that this was specially developed by him to deal with the super beasts. The reason for dismembering the body is also because he is afraid that the super beasts will be resurrected again. Titan said what he knew about Ace, and he fell silent. Put the 8-point light wheel on the neck and saw it. Fortunately, Rugoset has thick skin and flesh, and now sparks are bursting out. If it were an ordinary monster, the picture would be too beautiful, and the three dared not imagine it. Is this method used by Ultraman who protects the peace of the universe? Diablo asked a sole question. Chapter 21. The Little Golden Man, the Little Golden Bull, and the Little Golden Sword hid in the distance with a look of shock. Looking at the brutal scene in front of them. That's the 8-point light wheel. That's the electric saw. You use a saw to cut the head. Fortunately, Ruxet has thick skin and flesh. Otherwise, wouldn't the current scene be a bloody rain? No, if that guillotine was really released by Ace, Ruxet couldn't have held on for so long. The Little Golden Sword was the first to react. Although Ace's methods were a bit cruel, his strength was there. It didn't make sense that Ruxet could hold on to the 8-point light wheel. A mere guillotine could kill Tartarus. It can't be that Tartarus is not as good as Ruxet, right? So the guillotine was not released by Ace. Diablo suddenly realized, and then regretted, it seems that we have found the wrong person. I want to see who can dismember Tartarus. Tartarus' mouth twitched, and he resisted the urge to beat Diablo violently, dying, dismembering, and beheading. I really think he has no face, but although I know that the ultimate guillotine was not released by Ace. But who else in the Kingdom of Light can use the Ultra Guillotine? Whether it is him or not, the Ultra Guillotine was developed by him in the final analysis. If he hadn't developed this forbidden technique, I wouldn't have been hit by this knife. Unable to find the one who attacked him, Tartarus vented his anger on Ace in front of him. Especially when he saw the 8-point light wheel in Ace's hand constantly rotating, the resentment in his heart was even stronger. Absolute destruction. Without hesitation, Tartarus pushed his hands, and the golden destructive energy, like a cannonball, rushed towards the direction of Ace and Ruxet. The powerful concentrated energy made the space itself begin to vibrate and distort during the flight. Not good. Ace, who was bullying Ruxet, immediately noticed the attack from behind. This violent energy made his timer tremble. At this moment, time seemed to have stopped. The absolute destruction released by Tartarus, who was full of resentment, could be said to have exerted 200% of his power. He had already vented Ace in front of him like a sandbag. The violent energy was like a giant beast that broke free from its shackles, wantonly venting endless anger. With a bang, the sky and the earth echoed with a deafening roar, and the powerful shock wave swept everything in front of him with a devastating momentum. The mountain collapsed instantly, the huge rocks turned into powder, and the place where Ace was torn into a bottomless ditch, like a ferocious giant mouth. Humph! Tartarus snorted coldly when he saw such a scene, and the resentment in his heart dissipated a lot. The Little Golden Man and the Little Golden Bull were also secretly amazed. Tartarus was worthy of being the leader named by the king before he fell asleep. His powerful strength and strange abilities made people have to believe. Soran. However, a shout suddenly came from the center of the explosion. Ace stared at the scene in front of him with his eyes wide open. At the moment when the explosion was about to touch his body, Ace reacted quickly and wanted to avoid it. But the inexplicable sneak attack came too fast, and he didn't give him a chance to react at all. This absolute destructive power made Ace a little desperate. The new way of playing with the 8-point light wheel made him a little excited, and he ignored the perception of the surroundings for a while. At the last glance, when the golden energy was about to touch him, Ace had only one reaction in his head. I have to trouble Mother Ultra and Hikari again. However, at this moment, a familiar figure suddenly appeared in front of him. It was Soren. It was his apprentice. No. His scalp was numb almost instantly. This energy made him unable to bear it. How could Soren, who was weaker than him, bear it? However, there was no time to speak. The energy of absolute destruction has arrived in front of him. The super ultra barrier raised in Soren's hand. It fused the energy of Zestim, Soren's own energy, and the ultimate energy belonging to the ultimate life form. Boom! The violent collision made Soren's body sink 1 meter downward, absolutely destroyed. Although it was blocked, cracks appeared on the super-ultra barrier. Along with the absolute destruction of the cluster, it suddenly exploded, and the super-ultra barrier could no longer withstand this devastating energy. It exploded like a mirror. As the dust dissipated, Absolute and the other two slowly walked out of the hill behind them. However, when they saw everything in front of them, they were all stunned. Ace was intact at this moment, and Rugizet took the opportunity to break free and flew into the air, but the power of absolute destruction still caused Rugizet to be seriously injured. In addition to Ace, there was another standing figure. The Ultraman who came with Ace. His strength is quite weak, but his courage is commendable. As the ultimate life forms, the three of them naturally had strong perceptions. Of course, they noticed that before the power of absolute destruction was about to explode completely, this Ultraman suddenly appeared in front of Ace. Unfortunately, the power of absolute destruction is not something that ordinary Ultraman can resist. Soran in front of him is the best example. The wound visible to the naked eye penetrates, and the dissipated white light energy flows along the wound. However, the scene that happened next made Absolute and Ace stunned. The broken wounds on Soran's body recovered at a speed visible to the naked eye, and the dissipated energy also flowed back quickly. Quick recovery? Ultraman has this ability? No, this is a physical problem. Diablo's eyes widened. He is also good at quick recovery, but he relies on the Absolute heart. What is this Ultraman doing? If you cast a healing beam, they can understand it. But you are recovering by relying on your body's instincts. When did the race of light learn this trick? Chapter 22. Soran, what are you doing? Ace also came to Soran with a surprised look on his face. He was also a little surprised when he saw his body recovering. This ability of self-recovery has never been possessed by Ultraman in the history of the Kingdom of Light. Maybe my physique is special. Soran did not explain much. This is the characteristic of the Red Entry Ultimate Life. Quick recovery. With a physique comparable to that of a monster, even if you are missing limbs, you can recover quickly. Although Soran looks a little miserable now, Soran has no worries. His physical fitness has once again exceeded his imagination. The two entries of Fighting Master and Ultimate Life are really terrible for his physical fitness. Absolute destruction if the flesh is hard to bear. If I get some entries about improving physical fitness in the future, I am afraid that I can block the light with my chest muscles like the first generation. Forget about Titus, buttocks turn back. When I saw it for the first time, Soran was shocked. It was too much. But I would never use my butt to deflect the enemy's light attack. So that's how it is. Maybe your fighting talent is so outstanding because of your physique. Now is not the time to think about these things. Ace quickly took a fighting posture and looked at the three little golden men who came out from the front with an angry face. If Soran hadn't stood up to block this fatal blow for him at the critical moment, it is very likely that he would be completely destroyed. So Ace was naturally very angry about the three little golden men who launched a sneak attack. Who are you? Rugsat appeared in this universe because of you. Ace asked sharply, and at the same time, Rugsat floating in the sky slowly appeared behind the little golden man. It looks like the little golden man's subordinate. Wow, wow, QQ life form. Absolute warrior. Tartarus. Absolute swordsman. Titan. Absolute, Diablo. The three introduced themselves and then strode forward. Who else can use the forbidden technique of ultra guillotines besides you? Tartarus continued to ask. You guys who disturb the peace of the universe, don't even think about getting any information from me. Ace said as he slid his hand upwards and sent out ultra signature immediately. However, almost as soon as he floated in the sky, Titan reacted and slashed the blade in his hand upwards. The sharp sword energy cut through the void and directly cut the ultra signature that Ace had just sent out into the void. Soran was relieved when he saw this. He didn't forget that Ace's nickname also included a group-destroying engine. Basically, when Ace fights a group, all the groups are wiped out. It was good for them to fight alone. Soran was eager to try, and all the injuries on his body had recovered. No matter what, you who invented the Ultra Guillotine deserve to die. Tartarus gritted his teeth, his tone full of resentment. This confused Ace. Did he kill your wife with a guillotine or something? Ace didn't know, but Soran knew. He probably guessed that the previous ultimate guillotine killed the little golden man. He couldn't find the initiator, so he found Ace, the inventor. He was really lucky, but he was also injured by the little golden man just now. Rounding it off is almost the same, in this case. Let's fight together. Soran looked at the three little golden men with burning eyes. Whether he can get new entries depends on this battle. Entry owner Absolute detected, Diablo entry owner Absolute detected, Titan host, please contact both as soon as possible to plunder the entry. The system prompt has sounded, and before Ace can reply, Soran has already rushed towards Diablo like a giant beast out of control, with muscles bulging all over his body. Good boy, do you think I'm a weakling? Diablo was instantly angry, and the mark on his chest seemed to come alive when his thick fist touched it. Cosmic Fantasy Beast Fist, strong force-breaking bull fist. The golden menu metal gathered golden energy, and then expanded the projection forward. Diablo pushed his fist suddenly and directly launched the energy metal. The power of this move should not be underestimated. Master Lei Ting completely destroyed Magma's fleet when he used it for the first time. The powerful force made the little golden bull addicted to it, otherwise he would not have been on the D60 planet for so many years. Soran did not choose to resist, but dodged by turning his body sideways. Then, relying on his powerful jumping power, he came directly into the air. He turned over and came behind the little golden bull. He swung his fist, and the muscles on his arm bulged like granite. The muscles did not look big, equivalent to the body of 7x, and not as terrible as Titus and Jonya's. However, the power contained was not weak at all, and it hit the back of the little golden bull heavily. With a plop, the violent power knocked the little essential oil to his knees on the ground, and the power of 500,000 tons was released in an instant. At this time, Absolute Titan also raised the sword in his hand and slashed at Soren. Cosmic boxing. Soren first stretched out his arm to resist the sword energy, and then the other hand suddenly grabbed Titan's wrist and lifted it up with force. At this moment, Soren's wrist force alone reached hundreds of thousands of tons, and he easily lifted Titan up, and finally hit the ground heavily. The ground cracked instantly. What a terrible reckless man. When did the Kingdom of Light produce such a genius? Tartarus looked at Soren in surprise. Having traveled to so many universes of the Kingdom of Light, he remembered almost all the Ultramen in the Kingdom of Light. But he had almost no impression of such a young warrior. But this power. You are not the Ultraman of the Kingdom of Light. Tartarus suddenly realized. Chapter 23. However, at this moment, Soren had no time to deal with Tartarus. The contact between the little golden bull and the little golden sword had allowed him to successfully plunder new entries from them. Fearless heart, purple unrestrained. Fearless. Your heart is very firm, and any attack and sound waves that shake your will cannot cause you any harm. This is obtained from the little golden sword, fearless heart. Basically, it strengthens one's own will. It is useful to say that it is useful. After all, there are many monsters in the universe that are good at sound wave attacks, and there are also some cosmic people who are good at bewitching people. But this entry. No wonder Admiral Titan can kill the mysterious 4-0, it turns out that the root is like this. As for the entry obtained from Diablo. Cosmic Fantasy Beast, Gold obtain the recognition of the Cosmic Fantasy Beast and comprehend the Cosmic Fantasy Beast Fist. The introduction of the entry is very concise, but it makes Soren very satisfied. Closing his eyes and feeling the loading of the entry, he seemed to feel that something in the universe seemed to be calling him. Accompanied by a cry. A planet burning with fire suddenly appeared in Soren's vision. In a trance, he felt that he was standing in front of a planet of fire. His 60-meter-tall body was also very small in front of the planet of fire. Gradually, the flame in front of him suddenly turned into a powerful creature with wings spread and flying, emitting golden light. When the wings were waved, golden flames appeared, burning with blazing flames. An invisible momentum began to float around Soren. At the same time, at his wrist, golden flames appeared invisibly and gradually turned into a Suzaku mark. Impossible. Diablo, who was smashed to the ground, just stood up and shouted in shock when he saw Soren's changes at this moment. How could he not know about Soren's changes at this moment? This is the Cosmic Fantasy Beast Fist. As a user of the Gangly Ponyu Fist, he could naturally see at a glance that Soren had won the recognition of the Cosmic Fantasy Beast and comprehended a new Cosmic Fantasy Beast Fist. Diablo widened his eyes and looked at Soren with disbelief. He couldn't understand why Soren could be favored by the Cosmic Beasts and comprehend such a powerful fist. In an instant, Diablo's jealousy burned fiercely. He had to go through a lot of trouble to enter the D60 planet and also wanted to obtain the Cosmic Beast Fist. But the recognition of the beasts was too difficult. In addition, after seeing the power of the strong force-breaking bull fist, Diablo simply locked his eyes on the strong force-breaking bull fist and spent a lot of hard work to master the strong force-breaking bull fist. The power of the Cosmic Beast Fist can also be called the strongest fist in the universe. Then Diablo naturally couldn't give up on the remaining few big beasts. For this reason, he imprisoned Regulus just to obtain the Red Dragon and White Tiger Fist on Regulus. But now, a brand new Cosmic Beast Fist appeared in front of Diablo. After being shocked, Diablo's heart was greedy. He knew the power of the Cosmic Beast Fist by heart. It was because of this that Diablo always wanted to collect all the Cosmic Beast Fists in his heart. After the destruction of the planet Magma 1,000 years ago, only he and Regulus still mastered the Cosmic Beast Fist. Soren is the new successor of the Cosmic Beast Fist. It is even a brand new Cosmic Beast Fist. The momentum and full sense of oppression when he appeared alone made Diablo's heart beat. Suzaku Star Feather Fist. This is the Cosmic Beast that Soren communicated with, Suzaku. Soren vaguely remembered that the Leo brothers had originally learned the Suzaku Fist, but they did not get the recognition of Suzaku, so they did not master the ultimate secret of the Fantasy Beast. And now, the Suzaku Fantasy Beast recognized him. Soren was also very satisfied with this boxing method, which was fierce and passionate, powerful like a raging fire, and burning everything with flames. Titan. I want to live. Diablo suddenly turned back and said to Titan. Then let's go together. Titan raised the blade in his hand and stood up. And Ace, who was fighting with Ruxet and Tartarus on the side, couldn't help but feel happy for Soren when he saw this scene. When Soren just showed his talent, the fighting talent that impressed Zero, Zoffy and Seven had been suggesting that Soren continue to practice, and sooner or later he would be recognized by the Universe Fantasy Beast. And now, after more than a year, Soren finally got the recognition of the Universe Fantasy Beast. And this illusion is the Suzaku Fantasy Beast that the Leo brothers studied hard at the beginning. Go to hell. The person who invented the guillotine deserves to die. While Ace was watching Soren, Tartarus didn't talk about martial ethics. He suddenly punched Ace. At the same time, Ruxet's huge wings began to spread behind him, and endless missile-like attacks began to emanate from Ruxet's body. He bombarded Ace. At the center of the explosion, Ace bent his legs and flew into the air at a very fast speed. Then he posed the Meslim Ray and counterattacked Tartarus and Ruxet. The golden flames swirled in Soren's palm, and the blazing flames seemed to ignite the whole world. Suzaku Flame Wave. The golden flames quickly gathered in the palm of his hand, forming a dazzling fireball. Without hesitation, he pushed forward suddenly, and a powerful flame shock wave appeared instantly, with endless heat waves and destructive power, rushing straight towards Diablo. This sudden attack caught Diablo off guard, and the temperature of the flames made him sweat coldly in an instant. He quickly turned around and tried to avoid this terrifying flame shock wave. However, the speed was beyond his expectations, and Diablo was not good at speed. At this moment, Diablo's body was hit hard by the flames, and he roared in pain, and his body quickly retreated, trying to get rid of the terrible flames. At the same time, Titan took the opportunity to approach Soren at a very fast speed, with the weapon in his hand flashing coldly, ready to give Soren a fatal blow. Absolute Slash! Titan quickly swung the blade in his hand, and in an instant, Soren noticed dozens of afterimages attacking him, and there were sword lights in all directions, and there was no place to resist. However, he didn't plan to resist. Flame Feather Flash. He punched continuously at a very fast speed, and the whole shadow flashed like the feathers of the vermilion bird. Every punch was blasted with a blazing flame, clang clang clang. Each of Soren's punches collided with Titan's slashes, and he even swung his fists faster than Titan swung his sword. Especially with the blessing of the Heart of Innocence and the Heart of Fearlessness, even when facing two people attacking at the same time, Soren was still able to remain calm, evading without fear, and counterattacking with a calm mind. Chapter 24. Diablo, who was initially entangled by the flames, finally got rid of the flames and ran towards Soren with anger. Like a wild bull out of control, Diablo slammed his fists together while running. The golden bull badge on his chest exuded a noble light, and then formed a huge golden bull projection. Strong Force Breaking Bull Fist. The shadow of the Strong Force Breaking Bull Fist was like a huge door panel, and Diablo, who was moving forward against the door panel, was the accelerator. In an instant, the extremely fierce energy fluctuations of the Strong Force Breaking Bull Fist attracted Soren's attention. While stretching out his fist to resist Titan's attack, Soren turned around and saw that the little golden bull was about to hit him. Soren suddenly stretched out his foot. Sweeping the 8 directions, a beautiful roundhouse kick was directly thrown into the face of the little golden bull. Then, with the help of the projection of the Strong Force Breaking Bull Fist, Soren's body lay in the air, his fist grabbed the sword in the hands of the athlete, and still stabbed Diablo. Guided by Soren, Titan's sword with a sharp light in his hand slashed on the Taurus projection, and a violent explosion suddenly occurred, like an eruption of flames. What a calm way of fighting. Seeing this scene, Diablo couldn't help but praise Soren. Facing Titan's rapid attack, he still had a chance to react, and at the same time guided Diablo to hit the sword in Titan's hand. Although they were enemies at the moment, it didn't prevent Tartarus from admiring Soren. However, it also showed from the side how useless Diablo and Titan were at the moment. Even a descendant of the Kingdom of Light couldn't stop them. With a thought, the space-time channel appeared again. And this time, a blue-skinned cosmic man walked out. Necromancer, Rebertus. Possessing the energy to resurrect undead monsters. Let's do it together. Tartarus said to Rebertus. Rebertus raised the magic wand in his hand and pointed it at the empty space on the side. A powerful monster suddenly appeared. No, it was not a monster, but a super beast. Super Beast Baraba. When Soren saw the scene, he was shocked. It was different from the original plot. The original plot summoned Chimera, the blood-sucking monster in Eddie. Is it because the enemy this time has changed to Ace? A hole. The collision that hurt both sides made the little golden bull angry immediately. As a power warrior, what he hates most is being teased by the enemy. Titan's face was also not good. His calm knowledge was no longer calm at this moment. Titan's left hand slowly moved up and grabbed the knife and axe in the middle of his forehead. Holding the weapons with both hands, the golden absolute energy radiated. Both of them looked unfriendly and walked towards Soren step by step in an encirclement situation. At the same time, the super beast Baraba, who had just been summoned, also waved the sickle and mace in his hands and walked towards Soren step by step. Presenting a triangular encirclement. Soren. Danger. Seeing this scene, Ace's face was very anxious, so Ruxet hit his back directly. The severe pain made Ace roll on the ground, but he didn't have time to feel the pain in his body, and Ace's heart was full of regret. This time, I was too arrogant. I should have agreed to Brother Zoffy's request earlier, but even if Eddie followed, I'm afraid it wouldn't change the outcome. The enemy this time was too powerful, the ultimate life form, the super beast, and even the super monster that destroyed the universe. With this battle, they can attack the Kingdom of Light. What Ace regretted most was that he shouldn't have brought Soren to the universe in advance for a short experience. Soren couldn't feel Ace's worry. Looking at Baraba who had just appeared, Soren's heart was full of weirdness. If you have a monster, the attack from 3 directions will indeed make Soren difficult to resist. But if you have a super beast, do you really think the passive of the guillotine is fake? Facing a super beast, the guillotine can exert 10 times its own power. So, facing Baraba, who was more reckless than the little golden bull, Soren used a vertical guillotine cleanly and neatly, and the crescent light of his height directly cut Baraba in half. The scene didn't even last 3 seconds. With a bang, even the undead mentor Rebertus who summoned Baraba was stunned. No, buddy, 3 seconds? It takes longer for me to take a breath, and you're gone? Not to mention Rebertus couldn't hold it, even the little golden man couldn't hold it. You also know the Ultra Guillotine. Especially looking at this power, why does it feel stronger than the inventor Ace? Could it be that the guillotine that tore him into pieces outside the Land of Light was performed by the other party? Something's wrong? The power is wrong. The power of the guillotine that tore him into pieces is at least 10 times the power of the guillotine in front of him. What a weird boy, you have such strong strength at such a young age, you are more terrible than Zero's. Titan raised the sword and axe in his hand. If Soran is allowed to grow up rashly, in time, he will definitely become a strong obstacle to the development of the kingdom. It must be strangled in the cradle. Rebertus, you go yourself. After dodging Ace's sneak attack, Tartarus hurriedly said to Rebertus. Ah? Me? Is it me? I'm just a summoner. Stop talking nonsense, don't dawdle, hurry up, there are so many of us, if we can't take down these 2 Ultramen, let alone conquer the Kingdom of Light, just pack up and go back to our own universe. Diablo was also a little impatient, and the big golden horn on his forehead began to emit red smoke. His eyes gradually turned red, as if he was out of control. The situation became tense again. But at this moment, there was a loud bang in the sky. A hot energy fell from the sky and hit Rugsat heavily. Chapter 25. The sudden attack from a third party attracted everyone's attention. Everyone looked up at the same time. With a loud bang, 2 figures fell from above. Who are you? Ace stared at the 2 strange Ultramen with wide eyes. Are you okay? At this time, Gao Si in the form of the cosmic corona took 3 or 2 steps forward and came to Ace's side. I am Ultraman Gao Si. Gauss, I remember it, it's that kind warrior, thank you for taking care of me, Zero. Ace's eyes lit up. Ever since Zoffy knew about Gao Si, every time Ace dismembered the body, he would say, can't you learn from the Gao Si in other universes? Be more kind. In addition to the Miracle Warrior saga fused by Zero, it would be difficult for Ace not to know. I captured the abnormal energy reaction in our universe, so Justice and I tracked it here together. As he said, Gao Si looked at Justice on the side. Following the will of the universe Justice Drazian, the guy in front should be the one who disturbed the universe abnormality. After saying that, Justice looked at the little golden man at the moment. It turned out to be you. The little golden man also suddenly realized that he had just been to the universe where Gauss was not long ago, in order to obtain the chaos cells unique to the Gauss universe. Originally planned to stay there for a while, but a cosmic order has always locked its eyes on him. Tartarus was so nervous that he came back immediately after not staying for long. Unexpectedly, the other party actually chased back to this universe. Please. Ace nodded. With the addition of Gauss and Justice, his pressure was also less. Facing the ultimate life form and the powerful cosmic white blood cells at the same time, even if Zoffy came, he couldn't bear it. He can hold on for so long, which is already very good. Don't worry. Gauss and Justice nodded, without hesitation, an energy wave blasted at Tartarus. You shameless fellow, I didn't bother you, how dare you chase me? Tartarus snorted coldly, and directly used his golden arm to resist the attacks of the 2. He swung his sturdy hand down, and the energy of Gauss and Justice was thrown to the ground, making a violent explosion. What a powerful strength! Seeing this, the 2 looked very serious and switched their forms without hesitation. Switched to the powerful form and the future form. Soren took a look at the battle over there and ignored it, instead staring at the place where Baraba exploded. A green entry loomed. Resentment of the Ultra Beast, Green died under the fate of the guillotine, Baraba's heart was full of resentment. Installing it in the entry will make the energy carry resentment and increase energy attack, but it will attract the attention of the Abo people. At the same time, when seeing Ace Ultraman, the anger in the heart will increase by 200%. €, load it, €, this garbage entry is loaded by itself. After a glance, Soren stopped caring. The item he wants most now is weapons, something like Ultra Armor of Zero, or Night Aura of Hikari. Although fist attacks are cool, the sword and axe blade in Xiao Jinjian's hand really enhance his combat power. No wonder the new generation likes to cheat. I don't know what I can get from Justice and Gauss later. It's not time to make contact yet, let's deal with the little golden bull and the little golden sword first. Diablo, you go first, I'll cover you. After seeing Soren's cruelty, the little golden sword silently stepped back and came behind Diablo. Diablo's mouth twitched, but he couldn't afford to lose face by asking him to retreat in public. And it's just a guillotine, right? I can smash it with one punch. After glaring at the little golden sword, Diablo waved his fists and smashed at Soren. Suzaku Starfeather Fist. The blazing flames kept appearing on Soren's fists. Soren had no fear at all and fought Diablo head-on. Is Diablo the ultimate life form or the power warrior in absolute? Strength is the opponent's greatest advantage. Even if it is Soren now, he may not be a match for Diablo in a strength contest, but Soren's advantage lies in speed. The attack of Suzaku Starfeather Fist is just like Suzaku, very agile. The attack frequency is very fast. At the same time, the flames burning on it will cause Diablo a lot of trouble every time they touch. Once the flames touch Diablo's body, they will continue to burn for a while. Coupled with the same extraordinary power, for a while, he fought back and forth with Diablo, and Xiao Jinjian couldn't find a chance to attack. Soren's speed is too fast. Damn loach. Not only Xiao Jinjian was annoyed, Xiao Jinyu also felt very annoyed. After an angry roar, he seized the opportunity, and the golden horns on his forehead began to flash, and he directly hit the back. And the next second, Soran's body appeared impartially. It was as if Soran deliberately hit Diablo's head. Prediction? Or a new special ability? With no time to dodge, Soran could only crash into Diablo's horn. Caught off guard, his body was suddenly knocked back several hundred meters. Titan, who had been waiting for a long time, finally couldn't hold back. The sword and axe blade in his hand were swung out at the same time, forming an X-shaped sword energy. The sword energy roared, as if it was going to tear the space apart. With a cry, burning flame wings suddenly appeared behind Soran. Cosmic Fantasy Beast Fist, the ultimate secret, the fury of Suzaku. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you are notified of future uploads. You can find the next parts in the playlist visible on the screen or on my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.